Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to live from my Empire Pro Studios. My name is Ola. Welcome, Man of Prestige. Welcome to all the Men of Prestige. Welcome to all you ladies and gentlemen. As usual, we're gonna have a good time today. I got a few things that we are definitely gonna be covering. We're gonna have a good time, like I said. Let's just make sure that everything works well. That sound is solid. I think sound is solid, and I think we are good and flying to go. All right, so today we're going to be covering some news around a young lady called Avonte and Michael Shawn of Boys Two Men. Of course, we're gonna be covering that. Actually, we're gonna be reacting to a short video clip from the Unwind with Tasha K. Shout out to Unwind with Tasha K. We're gonna be covering that, and also we're gonna be covering the divorce news with Deelishis from the what's the name of the show? Flavor of Love with Flavor Flav, and she's an Instagram model slash for the streets slash slash model slash reality TV star. All of these different things, and then also this guy, she was married onto, at least I think they're still married. He just filed for divorce. This guy was one of the five guys that was exonerated from the Central Five story. We're going to try to cover that as well. We're going to talk about Tamar, Braxton, anything Braxton, because I'm a big Tony Braxton fan. I pay attention to it. But today we're not talking about Tony Braxton. As usual, we're not talking about Tony Braxton unless we're talking about greatness. But it's not like we're not talking about greatness with Tamar too. But with regards to her drama, this I don't think we can refer to this as greatness. So we're gonna talk about her ex-husband Vince, and David Oyefeso. Most people mispronounce this as Oyefeso or Adefeso or Oye. Even him himself, like most stupid Nigerian Americans that never learn how to pronounce their name, they lose their culture into assimilating into the American westernized, and it's just terrible. These are things that you find that a great group of people in this world they don't do. They hold on to their. We're talking about people that like group of people that achieve greatness. They tend to hold on very strongly to their cultural values, and that's something that us as Black people we can emulate. But hey, not to. I don't want to put too much attention on that. That's just my opinion. I think we need to hold on to more of our cultural heritage. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this young lady that went missing after she went on a date. I don't have any updates on that, but we're going to cover it. And I feel like there's a comment that came on this platform over the past few days her name is Asia Maynard. We're going to talk about that. It's a sad story, but we need to cover that. All right. So without any further ado, we're going to get started right now. And these are sizable books. They're minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that. All right, so the first story that we're going to be covering today, well, is exactly this. We hit 20,000 views. 20,000 views. We hit 20,000 views. This is a big deal. As a matter of fact, let me give you a quick update. I want to carry you along on what we're doing here because I believe you're part of the family, especially if you're a man. You are a man of prestige if you pay attention to what I am saying here. There's a lot of rhetorics out there, talking points. I don't do that here. We'll look at real life examples, celebrities, trending news, nonetheless, but we can pinpoint some real life lessons as opposed to everyone else that's just basically regurgitating the same talking point that never gets them anywhere. So I always like to bring you up to speed with what's going on with the channel. As you can see, we're up to 213 subscribers right now. This is completely organic. We're not sharing subscribers with the whole world. Of course, I'm always sharing, but it's only people that have heard me speak that took some interest to what I am saying, either because they agree or disagree, or but they find some level of interest to continue to share insights. That's why they're here. So there's nobody that's here because I go pay for some Illuminati group somewhere. So that's the beauty about this. So I want to keep carrying you along. So we're up to 213 subscribers there, But up 20,000 views so far, thus far, and I want to keep going, and I want you to also keep suggesting topics. Basically, the idea of the topic is that men can learn from each other. We can hold each other accountable. Okay, this is not a place where you come to where you hear men holding the men accountable, and then the first thing they go to is you're pandering. Like that's low vibration. Low vibration men always go in the direction of accusing people of pandering and simping. Over here, it's okay to hold each other accountable, agree to disagree, and learn from the process, the conversations, and things like that. So, thank you so much for being here. As you can see, I just want to show you really quickly before we dive in through the news. This is just last 28 days. So, the last 28 days since we started actually has carried most of the weight, 18,000 views. If you look here, you can see if I go on lifetime, you can see that 200,000 times YouTube is actually loving what we're doing here. You can see right there, that's 21,000 views actually altogether. Okay, so and you can see the spike. Okay, so we will continue to do the work here. I will continue to bring you the news stories. I want to hear from you. Let's just keep it moving. I'm excited. Hopefully you're just as excited. I want to build it together with you. Okay. The other thing is that one of the things that really spike up the growth here, it just so happens that the first live session that we did was around the drama around Tariq Nasheed and the FBA and all of this stuff, right? It just so happened that I covered it on the first live session, so it took off. But let's be clear, it's just because it's public news out there. But we're going to be covering trendy topics. So yes, their names, the different brands, all these different brands will help us, but my job is to extract the lessons out of them. Okay, that's my job. All right, so I just wanted to cover that really quickly. There is a frame that I am looking for here. Yes, I usually come here at Thursday, 5 o'clock. Actually, we may be adjusting that right now, which again, we're feeling on things as time goes on. We'll see how things go. But there's this young lady. Let me just see here if I can find it. There you go. All right. So for some reason, this did not upload before, but it's uploading now. Great. So we're going to talk about this young lady, Chaney Jones and Kanye West, the new flame of Kanye West. Okay. A couple of things that I wanted to bring up about this young lady. Okay. And you will see the little twisted lesson for me. What I do is I learn these lessons and I share with you. Okay, it's really that simple. But let's go here. There's her bio in she apparently is a COO of some random companies out there. She's supposed to be some kind of psychologist. I'm not sure if she's a major, if she's studying it, but we're gonna read this together. And now we know all the drama that Kanye West has put himself through because he was trying to fight for his family. Then he changed his mind. Basically, he got dumped. It's a billionaire that got dumped by another billionaire lady, Kim Kardashian. We know what we know Kim Kardashian for. She got popular from a sex tape with Ray J. Okay, I mean that's just all we can remember. I don't think anybody knew her when she was following Paris Hilton around and shopping for other celebrities and stuff like that, or just hanging out around celebrities. Let's keep in mind, this new girl is just like, not only does she look exactly like Kim Kardashian, she seems to have the same background as Kim Kardashian, meaning she's spending a lot of time around celebrities. And these type of chicks that find their way to be around celebrities, they tend not to be your normal girl. Okay, so there's only so much we can compare them to normal life. But let's look at this really quickly. This is her bio, right? She says, I'm currently working on my master's in counseling. Now, we don't know exactly what she's counseling. Is she counseling human beings or something else? We don't know. But I'm probably going to guess that she's counseling human beings, right? At Wilmington University, I studied elementary education at the University of Delaware. There are many graduate ladies like this, right? That basically they are graduates, right? They go to school, do very well, but nonetheless they live this life of for the streets type of chick, meaning they're on Instagram posting pictures. They're trying to blow. They're trying to become the next superstar, the next IG model, but nonetheless they have real life degrees. Okay, I'm going to share with you the lesson we're trying to extract out of this in a second. Okay, especially as gentlemen, and especially if you're going to be mothers or you're already mothers of little boys in the society we find ourselves today. There's a lot of things that's going on, and we have to pay attention. You and I have to pay attention so we can win within this social construct and the society that we find ourselves. It's a little tricky, but let's keep going. I feel as though counseling and behavioral. Okay, so I think it's safe to assume that it's not dog behavior; it's human behavior, right? Behavioral health treatment is a healthy action for everyone. Counseling can help everyone improve in their everyday life, and I look forward to working with you. Now, she's not wrong by any of those things. She's not wrong, right? But there's something I want you to be clear about. There's a few times that I've stumbled into platforms on this, especially on YouTube Streets and Clubhouse, and people claim to be professional, counselor, professional psychotherapist, professional, what do you call it, psychologist, psychology major, well, or even them like therapist, right? There's a lot of time you're going to stumble into that. And even you yourself, you may have studied some things that, maybe you went to school, you have a master's degree, PhD, and all this kind of things. I always say something. Common sense is a terrible guide to life. Not only common sense, textbook knowledge is a terrible guide to life. So what is a good guide to life? What is a good guide to life? Well, here's the thing. It's not me either. Let's be clear, right? As a matter of fact, I'm a student of the same game, right? But it starts with relationships. Like, you need to be obsessed with the studies of relationships in general, okay? And right and wrong is a terrible guide to life because everyone has their own idea of what is right and what is wrong. So I can sit here and tell you that this young lady is wrong. I don't even know her, right? Or I can say Kanye West is wrong. Well, I don't even know him either. The only thing we know is his public the public status, right? It's a billionaire. It's a favorite rapper of a lot of people. It's a successful businessman, successful artist, fashion designer, all of these things, right? But yet we see all of these struggles and this outrage in public on social media, and yet this young lady is supposedly a professional counselor of some type with master's degree on the way, found herself in a relationship with this kind of guy. Is she wrong? No, she's not wrong. Okay. Now, can we predict the future of this relationship? Yes. Okay. We can predict it, especially their celebrities. Yes. And that's why I feel safer using them as examples because they're celebrities. There's a public figure, so we can use them as a source of public lesson, right? But here's the point I wanted you to really get out of this. Letting go is the number one hardest thing for human beings to do. Letting go. Okay? Letting go of what exactly? Just letting go of control. Now, yesterday was my wife' 41st birthday. She looked fantastic. She looks beautiful. She looked like 21. And I'm going to share some pictures with you. This was yesterday. It's one of the reasons why I didn't come live yesterday. So happy birthday to her. Again, you can help me say that to her. But we basically went indoor skydiving at the iFly, field promotion for them. And then we ran into Redman, right? And then Redman instantly became one of our favorite rappers. Well, he was one of my favorite rappers from the 90s along with Method Man. So, but what's the point that I wanted to learn? One of the lessons that we learned from this such a fun activity was if you want to become a really skillful skydiver, right? Or any sports, a lot of that involves letting go of your sense of control. It's like swimming, right? If you don't know how to relax in water, you will never be able to swim. If you don't learn how to let go of your control of being able to save yourself, you will never be able to swim. You can't skydive either, at least not indoor skydiving. When you put your head down with an attempt to try to protect yourself so you don't fall, what you do exactly is you go all the way down and you exactly fall because you do not understand learning how to leverage the wind in your favor. It's the same thing in life. It's like I use the feminine energy as an example, as like the ocean. You have to learn how to leverage the trend in your favor as opposed to trying to save yourself. How's this lesson linked to Kanye West? Kanye West, we saw over the past few weeks. I've shared that here a few other session. Try to save himself, try to protect, try to save his family, and then in efforts to do that, he was all over the place, targeting the loser new boyfriend of Kim Kardashian, Skip Davidson, and then targeting all these wrong things, trying to save his family. And what he effectively did was destroy the family even further and embarrassed himself and the family. Made $2 million from selling his album from that, of course. But like I said, he's very good at business, but in relationships, he sucks like a lot of us because we're controlling. And when we accuse us of being controlling, we say, no, that's not controlling, that's not being insecure, that's me telling you what it is. We get stuck on right and wrong in every single argument, and then the veins on your neck start popping out because you're arguing, because you have the need to be right. You just have to be right. And that's the lesson that I'm extracting out of this, right? And you have to let go of everything you know in terms of textbook. So going to school for counseling doesn't mean shit. Not especially when it comes to you being one of the character in the film that we're watching right now, right? If you're one of the character, let go of your understanding. As a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible. Do not lean on your own understanding. Let me find it. Do not lean on your own understanding. Yes, I am Googling. It's in Proverbs. It's actually in Proverbs 3. Let me blow this up for you to see, so you can see that I am not joking here. Let's see. There you go. See that right there? Proverbs 3, verses 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. If you don't believe in God, it really doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that you should trust and lean on the universe, the context where you find yourself, the social construct, the society where you find yourself, your own knowledge, your own carnal knowledge, or whatever you think you know, all your right and wrong, the data, empirical data, all those things don't really matter if you don't learn how to stay present, live in the present, be present, right? Lean not on to thine own understanding. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your way, acknowledge him. Acknowledge him, we're saying the universe. We're saying the feminine energy, the vibe, where you find yourself. If you don't learn how to read a room, if you lack social skills, you will suffer. You just be another person arguing on this street for no reason, right? And you will be right all you want, but you'll be failing in all of your relationships, right? And that's really what I wanted to extract out of this old Chaney Jones, Kanye West. Like I said, it's not about them being right and wrong. We don't even know that. We're not God, right? All we can see is that in spite of the fact that this young lady, brand new lady, she's counseling all of this stuff, she found herself chasing after celebrities. That's the only way you end up in this guy's world, right? And rightfully so. It's a busy guy in the celebrity world. They are really not exposed to this outside world. So they kind of date from their pool, from what they're exposed to, and not the regular people that we know. But it's the same thing for us. Wherever you hang out is where you're going to find relationships. That's where you're going to build relationship, right? So learning how to lean into it and then leverage it and don't be above it is probably key to enjoying life and being happy in life. So I can even argue right now that Kanye West is probably happier than most people, because as much as it looks like he's making a fool out of himself, which I still agree, I still feel like he is, right? He's able to say, okay, all right, you're the next girlfriend. All right, let's move. All right, we got this place to go to. And he's just living, right? Who knows what is right and wrong? Again, in your personal life, you can actually emulate this, right? Don't be stupid. I'm not asking you to be stupid. You have to use all the information at your disposal to not be stupid, all right? You have to leverage everything at your disposal, but you also can't lean on your own understanding too much. You'll miss out on life precisely doing that, all right? All right. So so back to now we're gonna jump right into Deelishis and Raymond Santana. I think that's his name. And I want us to watch this short clip. I stumbled into them. I watch reality TV shows quite a bit with my wife. Because it's one of the ways that we spend time together. We just relax. We don't have to overthink. I think the only serious show that we watch together is maybe Power, all the Power series, right? The Ghost and all this kind of stuff. Broker, is it Power Broker? Something like that. But anyway, yeah, we try to stay on. I think we also watch Oval on BET. Those are the only serious shows. Everything else, we kind of like just want to relax. We can jump in on any scene, and it's still dramatic as shit, right? So, but anyway, let me share this video with you. Let's go into this video, short video, and the credit of this video goes to VH1. We're using it in fair use.
Deelishis, I got you. All right, I know what I got to
do. Yeah?
No, I told you what we got to do when we get in it. Once we get in it, just go slow.
So I get excited?
Yeah, then you be like, come on, get that. My was like this. Let's go, buddy. That's why it's all.
I'm still going. Raymond, I need you to hit it just like that.
All right, so like I said, that's Deelishis right there, and she's we stumbled into her years ago during the Flavor of Love things. She was one of the contestants struggling to love Flavor Flav, and since then she's basically been an IG model. She's been reality TV shows a few times over and over. And this guy is one of the Central Five story, exonerated for being accused wrongly, and then he won $8 million. He won $8 million, right? From winning I think there was a lawsuit. But that's their story right there. And then they run into each other about, I don't know, some few years back. They've been married for 2 years through another reality TV star, singer turned reality TV star, Candy Boros. And they got married, after he was ghosted for 2 months straight. So that's actually the first lesson right there, right? Now, being ghosted and a girl coming back to you is not the absolute, doesn't really mean anything in an absolute standpoint, right? But that would be a red flag for me, right? Especially if this is some kind of IG model. She, and then suddenly she came back, and then we're like, yeah, that would be a red flag, especially if I have some kind of short-term success, like, like being hit with the $8 million windfall, right? There are multiple reasons why those things that doesn't mix together right there, right? That doesn't mix together, right? There's also some clips of this young lady on the internet talking about it's stupid that if you're an IG model, you can't be a wife material. It's not stupid. It's not stupid at all. And it's not an absolute either. It's basically what it means is that there's a high likelihood that you cannot be an effective wife if you spent the better part of your adult life being an IG model. Is highly unlikely. It's like being a stripper. There's nothing wrong with being a stripper. How you doing, Just Jay? Welcome. All right. And shout out to John Rambo. I'm not sure if he's still hanging out with us. What up? All right. So yeah. So there's no absolutes in life, right? So yes, a stripper can become a wife, but that would be the exception to the likelihood. It's highly unlikely that a person who has spent most part of their adult life being a stripper, being being a person who makes money from attention on Instagram, as in literally your body and all this kind of stuff. It's not particularly the body. It's about, we know that this kind of lifestyle comes with certain things. It's a certain type of lifestyle, and it's very unlikely that I miss you too. Yeah, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to sustain what it takes to nurture a long-term relationship. A long-term relationship is highly rewarding, but in the beginning, it can feel very, very demanding, right? Because it's another human being that you're dedicating your life to, and vice versa. And oftentimes things can come from a place where it feels unfair, right? And I always tell people, if you're in a position where you feel like you're competing against your partner, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if you're the man or the woman, right? If you're feeling way too much like you're competing always, like you feel like things are unfair, and you don't find a way to consolidate that very quickly, you're going to feel like things are unfair, and you're going to self-sabotage and destroy that relationship, and you'll be right. All right, because you feel how you feel, and no one can discount how you feel, right? And you may feel like and rightfully so, you may actually feel like you're being smothered to death, that you feel like your mental health is involved. You may start to feel that way. So relationships that involves just two people for long term can feel very demanding in the beginning. It's highly rewarding. I'm speaking from experience. It's been 15 years for me. It's highly rewarding. I enjoy every bit of it. But in the beginning, you're gonna have moments that will test you. If you're like most human beings, so how much more if you've lived the better part of your adult life by yourself, and somehow some guy is going to come into your life, or some girl is going to come into your life and demand a certain level of attention, that you start to feel like, who are you, right? It's just the human brain, the way the human brain works. It's something that you really have to build a lot of muscles around. So if she was like 40, she's like 44 right now, and then suddenly she thought she became a wife, right? And to me, things like this are extremely obvious. Like if you win and you become, like, for example, a person that looks like they're winning on the outside right now is Candy Burroughs of Escape, and she's still a reality star. She looks like she's winning, but if you watched her on TV a little bit, you know that she has the character that would take to fight and potentially win. Doesn't mean she's gonna win. There's no absolutes. Even myself, right? There's no absolutes, right? But we're talking about there are chances. It's a likelihood. We can see behavioral patterns. We can see certain lifestyle, and it's highly unlikely that you're going to succeed in long-term relationship. And unfortunately, not just Deelishis, both Deelishis and Raymond Santana falls in that category. For Deelishis, again, she's what a lot of people a lot of men in this YouTube streets will call for the streets, right? I try to avoid this language, but it is what it is, right? For the streets mean you're for the world. The whole world gets, you make money from getting attention from the rest of the world, right? A lot from the world, right? As a woman, right? Especially when it involves your body image and stuff like that, right? She's exactly that. Nice body curves and all of that, right? Basically, you can imagine that a lot of men spend time consuming our image online. Now, in addition to that, she's been also, she's a lot of people's exes, as far as at least the news stands are concerned, right? We don't know the truth about these people's life. All we can see is what we can see, and where there's smoke, there's fire. These things tends to be true, right? Now, for this guy, here's a guy who spent a lot of time in jail. Let's see. Let's go look at. Let's look at the news right here, right? So, here's the headline from Yahoo News. I don't want her in my future voice, she said. In my future voice, I don't want her, right? Raymond Santana Jr. has filed for divorce. So he filed for divorce. So again, as usual, in these streets, you usually hear things like divorce. 80% of divorces are filed for by women. Yes, we know that as data statistics, but it's not real-time data, right? And one of the places where people fail is that they don't realize that being a student of relationship is the closest you can get to having real-time data. This kind of lessons. That's why this platform is very important. Everyone else will regurgitate data. I will show you real-time what is going on. So here's another example of yes. Men do file for divorce. Now, with that being said, that doesn't negate the data. But the problem with regurgitating data is because when you hear the data so much, you start to make it a truth in your mind. You're human like the rest of us. It starts to become the absolute truth in your mind. And none of this stuff is absolute. Not only do we know that there are reasons why people file for divorce long before the divorce was filed, like there's all kind of drama that happened before that. There's no data for that, right? We only know the data of when the trigger was pulled, right? But again, this is one of the 20% at least we know, right? So let's look a little closer into this news right here. So Raymond Santana Jr. Has filed for divorce, right? And let me just let's see. I'm gonna read it to you. From Deelishis, claps back at alleged side piece. Okay, so the first news that broke out, I'll show you that first news. I think she said something about she's married to a narcissist, right? Now we have an article. My wife and I have an article on ola.com. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We put out articles heavily on ola and ola.com. If you go under the blog, okay. I'm not a fly-by-night content creator, just so you know. I've been creating content since 2009. Just in case you're just getting to know me because of the Manosphere or because of Tariq Nasheed News and all this craziness. There's a lot that we have going on here, right? I think we have let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. Narcissist. Okay, it's my husband a narcissist. This article right here, right? So we find that a lot of women these days are very quick. And there's a quiz here, right? There's a little short quiz that you can actually take to see if a person is a narcissist, right? But there's an article right below it, right? And these are the common behaviors of a narcissist: exerting control over others, talking about how powerful or self-important they are, making fun of other people, right? But there are some actual things like a pattern of grandiosity, right? Like grandiose behavior, right? There has to be a few things before you can. Not only that, in addition to that, you have to have a professional who's actually licensed in order to diagnose anybody a narcissist or to have the disorder, right? But the NPD, the narcissistic personality disorder. But what we find these days is that people are self-diagnosing their partners. They self-diagnosing each other, and then they wonder why they struggle in relationships, right? So she accused, the news broke out because she accused him of, oh yeah, I found out I'm married to a narcissistic, gloves off, something to that effect. I'm gonna find it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it later, but let's see here. Let me see. I'm gonna find it. There's a statement. I'm gonna actually Google it. Deelishis, narcissist. Something about narcissist. We'll find it. Okay, she calls. There you go. Is that the one here? There's a tweet. All right, this is it right here. All right. So she goes, I married a narcissist who is a complete liar and a cheat. This is what everyone saw first, right? Because she's more popular than him, right? And I'm finally ready to speak my truth. Stay tuned. And she goes, #gloves off, right? Now, if you know anything about life, even if you're about to become ex with the person, right? The last thing you want to do is to fight them. What you really want to do is to make sure that you go your separate ways in a very healthy manner, as healthy as possible. It's okay that relationships don't last. It's absolutely okay. Listen, it's 2022, and you really can't afford to hang on to your ideologies from the past or the past or your idea of marriage. Listen, I'm married for 15 years, and I like to keep it that way, and I encourage other people to do it. Okay. However, let's not stop the cap. We live in a different era, okay? And the standards of the way it works is not how it's going to work, because obviously women are a little bit more enlightened or have choices than they used to have. And what that means is that if you want to remain a leader as a man in this society, in your family, you need to ascend to a different level of leadership skills. A lot of that's going to involve emotional and social skills. It's actually a majority of it. It's not your IQ. It's not your stupid IQ. It's not your ability to regurgitate data and empirical data. It's not. The more you're actually, what I found is that the more you're able to do those things, the more the more your inabilities to maintain a long-term relationship. Okay. All right. So just want to let you understand that. But here are the lessons from this, because I don't want to long-wind this lesson too much, right? Like I said, the windfall money. This guy got hit with $8 million. He never really learned life. He was in jail for the longest, right? And then got exonerated. So let's just read a little bit of this. Raymond Santana of the Central Park 5 has officially filed divorce from his wife of nearly 2 years, Deelishis, The pair met on over Instagram in 2019. I guess they met in person through Candy eventually. They attempted to strengthen their relationship on VH1 series. That's the video clip I showed you earlier. In fact, if you watch that show, it's called the Couples Retreat. Couples Retreat tend to be terrible, right? They tend to be extremely terrible because here's why. Because people usually go there to argue. I personally, my wife and I always recommend go to individual therapy much more than we recommend couples therapy. Couples therapy is to basically spice things up. Okay, it's not where you go when things have already broken. Okay, if things are already broken and you go to couples therapy, you're gonna waste money and you're gonna end up just arguing for no reason. And you waste that money, it's over. You end up creating even more reasons to resent each other, right? Exactly, right. Everyone is a professional. Everyone is a professional, and that's the reason why people are struggling with relationships, right? They self-diagnose each other. They diagnose their husband. They're very quick to call their husband narcissist. The husbands are very quick to call their wife the modern woman, whatever language they use for the streets, all this kind of stuff. People are diagnosing each other, and they're putting all that energy. And energy is neither created or destroyed. You either put all that energy in the right place or you put so much energy in the wrong direction, right? If you put so much energy in diagnosing the other person, what about the accountability part, self-accountability part, right? Where actually that's where the majority of your leverage point lies. Being able to look in the mirror and adjust so that you can put some energy, put some effort in building yourself so you can attract the right type of love to yourself. But people, of course, they do it in the beginning, they do it at the end, and everything in between. And there's very little energy that's put into self-work. Okay? But anyway, I digress. So on the show, on Couples Retreat, I saw them. The guy was very awkward. He seems very socially awkward. Like a lot of these guys on YouTube that I see on YouTube, seems very socially awkward. They're very smart kids. They know all of the data. You can't win when it comes to data. But when it comes to being able to relate with human beings, they suck balls. And it gets very obvious very quickly, right? I got a lot to cover today. I don't want to dwell on this, right? But anyway, his 47 years old contends his marriage with the reality star irretrievably broken with no hope of reconciliation, right? That's vague, right? But I know what that means. Basically, there's no chance. It's never looked like there was a chance there. I'm just being honest with you, right? So, this was the caption. This was the first thing that the shade room captured, right? But this was obvious, right? This was very obvious. And then after that, I think there was some guy who actually released a video and released some kind of clip with Secret Lover or something like that. But anyway, the bottom line is these are people, it's not just celebrities that are doing this. There are normal people doing this. The more you're engaged with the manosphere talking points, the higher the chances that you will not be able to make it in real life relationships. Okay, the more you are engaged, listen, you may say this is just online, this is my personal life. No, bullshit, okay? Let me tell you something. I'm talking about myself as well, okay? I'm talking about myself. I have to literally regulate how much time I spend on this YouTube street and in Clubhouse. Because we're human beings, we're spiritual beings, and the data that we're regurgitating or that we're hearing will eventually become the truth. There was a gentleman that I really respect a lot when I hear him on the streets. I'm going to play a video later on from the Wana Chica platform, from my sister Tawana's platform. And I respected a lot of his point, but he made a complete mess of himself on the show, on the last show, on Tawana's show. I'm going to play it and I literally cover everybody's face. And I just revealed Tawana's face to promote her platform because I think she has a fantastic platform where these conversations can continue, right? But I could just hear that, okay, he's starting to believe a lot of things that he's hearing. Another example is Chicago Rilla. If you're familiar with the Lapif Network, Chicago Rilla was a guy who was kind of well-centered. He's not on either side, right? But eventually he starts to hear the same thing over and he starts to believe it. And listen, it's like the Bible. You can find verses in the Bible to support any bullshit. It's the same thing with all of the data out there. You can find data that supports your bullshit. And if you spend too much time around it, you may end up starting to believe some bullshit. Just letting you know, okay? So anyway, let's see here. I guess she posted most of, no one deserves the pain that comes with a narcissist. So this is, you hear a lot of ladies do this, okay? So people want to say, hey, I don't hold women accountable here. No. I don't hold any human being that's an adult accountable. I don't do that. I hold myself accountable, and I stop right there. Okay, if you go through my channels, like my comments, right, there's a lot of people that tend to want to be abusive, or they're trolls and stuff. I don't sit down there and hold them accountable. These are adults. I don't do that. It's the waste of my energy. I don't have the bandwidth for that. When I get on panels once in a while, which I do, either I'm invited or it's just, maybe once every 3-4 weeks or so, I don't engage bullshits, argument, emotionalism. I don't. There's no bandwidth for it. And I'm saying that to make a point here that, listen, I don't hold adults accountable. The only thing, the best way to hold them accountable is to hold myself accountable. And when I show up into this marketplace, I attract the energy I attract, and I'm influencing people effectively. Either they like it, they realize it, or not. I am actively influencing them. And that's the only value I can bring into this space. As a matter of fact, me creating a channel around you, I'm going to be very straight up with you. This is purely a money move, okay? It just so happened that I can align it with bringing some real value. And I believe that the best money you're going to make in any platform, in any industry, it's only sustainable when you bring real value, okay? So you can see people run from one Illuminati to the other. They're trying to create alliance because they want to build a YouTube channel. It fails because they don't have real content to bring. It's the same thing with people that just want to regurgitate news. Actually, news is actually better because at least we know that there's real value of entertainment attached to trendy news, right? It's actually better than kissing balls all over YouTube. Yes, there's some real shots that I just threw right there. Okay? Anyway, I'm currently dealing with it. The mask this men wear. So she's generalizing. People that generalize are people that are coming from a place of pain, or people that have come from a place of pain and they haven't taken the time to heal. Okay? This man, you hear men say it a lot. This woman, if that comes out of your mouth a lot, just start reading yourself. If you say this woman, this man a lot, there is a good chance that you are regurgitating bullshit. Okay, there's a good chance that you're spending very little time on working on your ability, your social and emotional abilities and skills. Okay, they come in dressed as everything you pray and then turn into everything you never wanted. They're always the victim, and so it doesn't mean there's no truth in this, but it's not absolute truth. There's also mixed up with your own bullshit. You get the point? All right. But anyway, I'm not going to read that, but you get the gist here. You get the gist here. Let me see what my sister is saying here. Yeah, my wife and I enjoy marriage boot camp. Actually, we review it on our Lola and Ola channel quite a bit because it's marriage related, and we just talk about that together. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the lesson. Let me see if I have a main lesson. Make sure I don't miss it out, right? Windfall money. If you get hit with windfall money as a man, you haven't learned how to handle money. Money is like the devil. It's like relationships. It's double-edged sword. It's to destroy you if you don't build it slow and steady. There's nothing wrong with windfall. I'm just saying, if you got windfall money, you better have some real-life professionals around you to help you manage that money, because it's going to leave at the same speed, if not double the speed that it came into your life. It's the same thing when you're building relationships. If you're too much in a hurry and you don't get to know people, or you're too much in a hurry to get into answers by using data, right? You're going to self-destruct your relationships. Everything that's worthwhile in life is a function of time and patience. It's undefeated, okay? Undefeated. I'm going to keep showing you real life examples, and you will see it over. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how much data you're able to regurgitate. If you don't take your time to get to know people on an individual case-by-case level, if you are looking for fast answer with aggregated data, you will fail at life all the time. And the data will be correct. You will be right, but you will fail. You will create failure as opposed to results. Okay, in terms of results, you will create failure as opposed to success. All right. So he moved in with her in the beginning. Where there's no absolute that that's always wrong, but that's tendency that you're not a man on your own purpose. It's a highly likelihood that you're not a man on your purpose if you're moving in with a woman within this social construct. 70 years from now, it may be different, but right now, it's still an indicator that you're not a man that's moving in purpose. Okay. She never left the streets, whatever that means. She never left the streets. How could she leave the streets? If you engage in a relationship with a person and you're expecting them to leave the streets for you, there's a good chance that you were not a man on your purpose. So we're going to point that finger right back at you. You continue to be the issue as the man because you are the leader, either you realize it or not. Okay. And the more you try to play catch up, or the more you try to, what do you call it? The more you try to compete with her, the more you fail. Because you're not the same. You're not equal. You're not the same, period. Okay? Especially within the social construct. Maybe, again, 50, 70 years from now, things will consolidate and men and women will become equal from a social standpoint. Maybe. But if you operate with that rule right now, you will still fail. Okay? Because it's just not true. And it's just not the reality. Okay? Let me see here. He was ghosted for 2 months before she came back. Yeah, I would use that as red flag. Or I would be extremely careful. Again, no absolutes. But if somebody ghosts me for 2 months and then they came back and suddenly they want me, maybe they found out some kind of information about me and they start taking a liking to me. Listen, I like interest up front. I recommend that you see interest up front. Some kind of like, oh, I'm interested up front. I don't want a person that grows up to like me. Now, there are possibilities, there are exceptions to the rule, right? People can grow to like you, absolutely, right? I'm just saying that has to align with other positive signals, right? But that by itself is a negative signal. If somebody comes back to kind of like you after they ghosted you for 2 months, yeah, I would be very, very wary about that. I'll be very, very careful about that, you know? So, yeah, that's that right there. I want to move on to the next material that we have right here because, again, I got a lot to cover. This is my form of live taping, so I got a lot to cover because I'm busy with other stuff. I want to make sure I take advantage of this taping moment. And I want to appreciate the 2 people that are hanging out with me live right now. Thank you so much. It means a lot nonetheless. All right, so let's go to Tamar Braxton. Tamar Braxton. Again, like I said, when I hear anything Braxton's, I kind of melt. I'm human like the rest of us because I like Tony Braxton. I've always been a fan of Tony Braxton. So even my wife knows this, right? So when their show was on, Braxton, when it first came on, I was like, wow, you know, just like the same reason why the reality TV shows blew up. And by the way, to her credit, Tamar is mainly responsible for that reality TV show. And I think they only made Tony Braxton an executive producer just formalities because she was a bigger brand, right? But it was mainly her. So thank you so much. Thank you. So Tamar Braxton is she's an interesting character. She's a woman of a certain age. I think she's just turned 45. And when she was with Vince Hubbard, who is a record executive, there was all kind of obvious signs that it wasn't gonna last. They were also an example of good people, raised with somewhat of some good value. I think Vince was raised without parents. And I think Tamar was raised in a situation where the relationship of her mother with the father was purely toxic all the way through. There were a bunch of girls and one guy. Yeah, it's just too many red flags there. Not because these people are bad people as usual. This is why I said common sense is a terrible guide to life, relationships, and love, right? Because it's not about how good you are as a person. It's not about how smart you are. It's about how much of a student you can be perpetually. A perpetual student of the game of life. It never ends. When people say how much patience are we talking about, I said infinite patience. You know? Infinite patience. There's no limit to the amount of patience that you need. So you better get good at being and resting in patience. Right? Meaning there's nothing someone can do to you in an instance that can destroy you. At least you have the skill set to be able to say, okay, let me process what's going on. Let me see if I can. Maybe there's a better answer. There's always a better answer beyond the moment in time. The moment in time is your natural instincts, natural reaction. Your feelings, it's always going to be wrong because you're human like the rest of us. It doesn't matter how much data you have or how much of a professional you are. As a matter of fact, the more professional you are, the more vulnerable you are to your personal relationships, because basically you will judge your relationships. You will judge the other people in your relationships with these professional things that you know, and they will fail you. They will fail you. So you have to remain in that space of humility, infinite patience. It doesn't mean you won't make a decision at some point, but being quick to decision is a weakness. It's not a strength. It's not a strength, okay? And decisiveness as a man is a strength. You have to be able to decide with limited information, but not in the moment, not in the instant of a moment. You have to be able to discern and know when it's time to just back off a little bit, right? And Vince did not have that skills. Well, people that attract a type of Vince also tend to attract a type of Vince. It will look like another person in another body. As you can see, is it David Oyefeso? That's how to pronounce it properly, by the way. David Oyefeso looks like, according to her, it's a snatch. 6 packs, all of that looks like another entire human being. He's a Nigerian like myself. What kind of guy? A lot of people think Nigerian means you're a better man. Bullshit. Okay? I don't know if you've seen a bunch of Nigerians in the comment areas on Manosphere. As a matter of fact, I think they're worse because a lot of them westernized value that they are regurgitating to themselves. It's not really their reality. But because they can relate in one way or the other, they turn it to absolute truth. They're actually worse. Right? You start to have all the black men talking points, and they've never lived the experience of a descendant of slavery, right? So you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. They're worse, all right? But anyway, human beings are the same across board. We have a lot more in common than we like to admit to, okay? So you can run all the way from America to Africa to go find a husband or a wife. You're going to attract exactly what you've been attracting, and you're going to fall flat on your face as usual. And that's what Tamar Braxton is. I'm going to play this short clip for you. Again, all credit to VH1. I use this in fair use, okay? Fair use. Let me play this short clip, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the lessons. I think I've already extracted the lessons, but let's play this clip.
You walk out and have a conversation?
I don't feel like it. I'm tired.
Be tired.
I don't know.
Sorry, the credit to WeTV, not VH1.
I cannot. I'm getting super frustrated because this accident temporarily stopped my plans to tell Vince I want to move. But
that's what I have to do.
Okay,
But
Jesus.
you want to make it something else.
What are you talking about? I asked you a general question like, what are you doing? These are simple questions.
I think Tamar is going through a midlife crisis.
All right, so watch it. They're arguing in a very toxic manner. They're walking away from each other, right? I teach here that a man who knows a woman never argues with a woman, okay? The reason why I say that is because I fall into that from time to time. A lot less than most human beings, but it happens, right? And I know what it becomes, and that's why I say avoid it. The idea is not to become invincible and you're a superhuman, you never argue. That's not the idea. The idea is to avoid it as much as you can. Be aware that when you argue in a toxic manner with your woman, there is no good results you're going to create from that. And the only good result you can create from this is that you'll be right. Okay? But remember that she's also right. At least she feels that she's right. Right? So there's nothing good that can come out of it. And this is an example when you don't know how to stop and remove yourself without removing yourself physically. One of my biggest downfall when I started to practice this was I didn't realize that I started to make my woman feel dismissed, or she started to feel like I'm just dismissive. And when the person start to feel like you're dismissive, you're still building resentment. It works against what we're trying to achieve. That's why I say you have to remain a perpetual student of this, because every time you learn something new, you create another blind spot. Every single time you learn something new, you create another blind spot. So until you die, you will continue to learn, because you're creating, you're active, because your viewpoint is always only 180 degrees at any point in time. You can't see the rest of the 180 degrees behind you. There's a whole 360 at any point in time. So if you move towards, I'm a Christian, I'm always perfect, there's a blind spot. If I have all this data, I know exactly what I need to know about women. Right? To all the Rollo Tomasis students of the world, there's a blind spot. There's always a blind spot. Either you like it, you realize it or not. There's always a blind spot. Right? So why do I say back off of arguments as much as you can? Because in that moment, you're caught up in your own feelings too. You can't see what's going on until you back off. But they did this multiple times, arguing with each other. And by the way, the cameras are rolling. The cameras rolling is not in their favor. It actually works against them. It's actually more against them, because everyone is trying to look their best at any point in time, even in their personal life. For each camera you have, you can multiply that effect. The idea that I want to look right, I don't want to look like a fool. Multiply that 10,000 times over. Remember, we're talking about the human mind. Right? So it gets worse. So there's more forces against them. So for every eyeballs that sees them on social media, that sees them on TV, you can multiply that again all over again. So there's this high likelihood that their marriage was not going to last was multiplied multiple times. But it's the same thing for the rest of us. It's the same point. You have to be aware of these things, right? But it starts with the argument.
I'm praying for it. You get an attitude about everything.
I don't have an attitude.
You should take this off and sit this off.
He's saying you have an attitude. She's saying I don't have an attitude. They're both right. Right? He's effectively making her feel less. She's effectively firing back because she feels attacked. Right? And vice versa. You can say the same thing vice versa again too. Right? Everyone is right in an argument. Right? Or you could call this a debate all you want. This is a romantic relationship. We're always capping on that part. This is a romantic relationship. This is not your professional relationship right now. It's a romantic relationship, meaning yourself, you're also caught up in the feelings. Regardless of how much you don't realize it or you try to cap about that or whatnot.
Oh my God.
Hey, how you doing? Where's Tamar? Huh? I think I saw your girl.
All right, so we move on to the next season. She's replaced Vince, the husband, with the boyfriend, the fiance. This one is like the Mr. Save 304, right? He's going to come in and save her, right? Yeah, this doesn't work. It's like Skid Davidson all over again. This was the original Skid Davidson. These guys that come into people's relationship and try to save the person, this is consistent. They tend to be losers. Okay. They're usually losers. I'm sure there's an exception to this rule out there somewhere. Somebody that replaced somebody else and they're successful after the fact. Listen, no one is God in this life. Okay. I'm sure that story is out there, and I will point it out one day. Right? It's an exception, but it's out there. But just keep in mind that when people are not emotionally available, meaning they're running from one relationship to the other, you are probably the sucker. You're one of the major sucker characters in that film, in that movie, okay? And David Oyefeso, shout out to my Nigerian brother, with all due respect, he was a sucker, he was a loser, right? And it's hard for him to see it because he was also caught up in the feeling. He fell in love with a Tamar Braxton, right? This is a 40-something-year-old man who was not married. It gets worse. The older you get without being married, right, as a man, the more socially awkward you become. I'm sorry, okay? It's not an absolute either, but it tends to be that way all the time. Because again, and if you failed, let's say there was a divorce or something like that, you really have to work on healing, because you will also project whatever made the other one fail. Whatever made you feel was the reason for the failure of the last one, you project it on the next relationship, right? So it just gets worse. It just gets worse, right? So this is another example. Some people say, yeah, you know, at least there's something I can share. All of us can share something. All of us has lessons in us. But are we doing it? Are we applying the lessons from a place of humility? or were just arrogant, right, about the whole thing. I think David Oyefeso came into the picture as an arrogant young gentleman who felt like, hey, he got it wrong. I'm going to get this right, right? He was just a rebound. Being a rebound doesn't mean that she deliberately made you a rebound. It's just what it is, right? She probably doesn't realize she was doing the same thing all over again. But let's watch this. This guy got upset so fast.
Going that way. Okay, let me go grab her.
She felt like you defending David was like...
I wasn't defending him.
She felt she didn't like that you were taking the blame.
Well, that's how I feel. I was waiting for the air to kick in. It was
Like, I don't want her to...
Do you see a repetition of the same pattern? The argument, the need to be right, to always having to explain yourself. Listen, always, if you find yourself in a place you always have to explain yourself, you're actively destroying that relationship at that point in time. So anyway, I made this, I pulled this because I can see this relationship lessons everywhere in this celebrity news. I think we do the same thing in our personal lives. You know, we are very quick to run from one problem, jump from fire pan into the fire, right? And we think we figured it out, and we don't do the work because we're using common sense. We think we figure it, like, for example, that Deelishis story, right? She felt like I know what it is. He's a narcissist. Well, where's the part where you look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm getting something wrong? But anyway, as far as this Tamar Braxton news, there's another clip here. This is what she's now doing online, and I'm gonna find what she posted for you in a second here. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. I think I found it. All right. There's this video, Tamar, and this is what she's doing now. Watch this. So she's turning 45, right?
One man's I'm not ready is another man's she's exactly what I've been praying for. One man's I'm not ready is another man's she's exactly what I've been praying for.
One man's I'm not ready. What is that? Does that mean I guess she's trying to say some kind of proverb there. I get it. I get the point. I guess I'm not the one to be blamed. It's always them that's losing. It's always their fault, right? It's always the other person's fault. One man's there's a way they say one man's treasure is another man's. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Something like that. You get the gist, right? I guess that's the point she's making, right? But let me pull this caption. There's a caption that she put on Instagram. I'm gonna pull it right now. And I want us to talk about it really quickly, because there's a lot of less, like every time they say something, there's something to it. All right, there you go. I have it. There you go. Let me pull it up. All right, here we go. She says, let me see if I can share it another way. Let's see. No, I couldn't share it that way. There you go. All right. She says, some of you will say this is a thirst trap, okay? And you're right. And you're right, okay? She got that part right. That she knows that everyone has the right to be right, right? But the attention I'm seeking is for myself to myself. Well, this is typical of women. This is a real thing, by the way, just in case you don't know yet. This is a real thing. Women... It's not women precisely, it's the feminine energy. It's all about itself, and that's it. That's all it cares about, itself, okay? So it could be a man that's in his feminine energy. All it cares about is itself, okay? This is me in all of my self-love, glory, right? I will not hide my scars. So for people that used to misinterpret like this behavior as masculine, this is not masculine behavior, okay? As a matter of fact, we are wrong anytime we talk about feminine, masculine without both a man and woman involved at the same time, or both of them. You can't really talk about one without the other. It's one with respect to the other, always. So you can't just watch a woman walking down the street and say, hey, she's masculine. That's always the wrong way to use that terminology, okay? I will not be ashamed of my past, my flaws, oh my God. Okay, so this is manifestation, right? See, I can't shame her for this, right? At least she's speaking life to myself, right? I will love all of me just as I am. Get ready for all of the self-love posts for 16 days all the way up to Saint Tamar's Day. Like another way of saying she's the queen. Who are you to argue with her? If she feels like she's the queen. You're a bitch if you argue with that, especially as a man. Okay. All right, you are effectively a bitch if you argue with a woman who calls herself a queen. I don't care if you're trying to build a community, all of that, all that energy, self-righteous energy. Why are they calling themselves? Okay, you're just a bitch. Okay, you're just camouflaging as something else. You're trying to build a community. It's bullshit. Okay, there's no need to talk down on people that are trying to boost themselves, unless you're kind of extracting a lesson or something like that. And here goes the lesson, okay? I'm on the road to 45, okay? I guess that's how to pronounce that. But you get the gist, okay? What's the lesson here? What's the lesson? Let me get straight to the lesson. Here, let's get straight to the lesson. One second. All right, so the lesson here, before I get to the lesson, real quickly, let me see. Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm sure you are like the rest of us. That's how you do these things, right? Right? Multitasking, right? Yeah. So here's the lesson. The lesson with regards to this. That caption that I just posted, she doesn't believe in it herself. The more energy you put out to making the world see what you're doing, the less energy you're applying to actualizing it in your life. Then there's nothing wrong. Sometimes, to a certain extent, that's a way for you manifesting, to speak it to yourself so you can believe. But when it gets to a certain point, it's just fluff now. You're just getting attention. You're wasting energy on the wrong direction. Okay? As usual, nothing is absolute. If you're coming out of a relationship, make sure you heal. You're going to repeat patterns all day long. It takes a while to change your habits. It takes a while. Minimum 90 days, minimum 10,000 hours. That's just the minimum, okay? And depending on where you're coming from in life, all right, you have to work on yourself. Work on yourself means work on yourself. It cannot be overstated. At some point, it starts to sound like cliche to some people. When it starts to sound like cliche, there's a good chance that you're still engaged way too much in your ideas of understanding, in what you understand. You're leaning too much on your understanding. You're a stubborn human being like the rest of us, and you're struggling when you start to hear work on yourself as cliche. That's usually what that means, okay? And the reason is because you haven't actually attempted to work on yourself. When you start to attempt to work on yourself, you start to see the multiple layers of it, and then you realize that it's not just about the cliche of it. It's more so about, you got to start the work. And also, if you haven't identified that you have a problem, it's normal for you not to feel like you need work. We all need work, okay? We all need that. That's why I don't engage people that's asking a question or that's basically saying there's a problem. I don't engage anybody. If somebody just want to just talk for the sake of talking, like a lot of people on Clubhouse, I don't engage them. It's just a waste of my energy. It's a waste of most people, all of us, energy, as a matter of fact. So let's move on to the next segment. All right, so we're going to talk about this young lady. I don't know too much about it, right? I'm going to try to pull up some news right here in a second. But there's something I wanted to pull up also from, let's go ahead and share my screen really quickly. And there's something I wanted to pull. There's a comment here a few days ago. There's a comment here. Let me see if I can find that comment. There's a video. Okay, let me go directly under the video. There's a video that we released on I Love the Pygmies. Actually, make sure you watch that video if you haven't watched that video. It's called I Love Pygmies. There you go. This video right here. Okay. Then I'm going to drop down into the comment area. There you go. Okay. Oh, wait, the comment is no longer. Was it here? Oh yeah, this is a comment right here. All right, this is a comment right here. This person says, ask a woman from the hood How many men have put their hands on them that they have dated? Okay, that's sad. Again, this is just as good as let me make sure that this right here is just as good as another person regurgitating data, okay? And that's what this video is about, right? Regurgitating data from either side is never good. It's never good. Let's just be honest, right? It's good to a certain extent, I guess, for insight. But if you just get stuck on the knowledge of it and not get a little bit deeper into what the insights are, that's one of the problems with the dating scene right now. A lot of people know way too much. They know way too much. They have access to all of the information, but very little access to wisdom, very little access to insights from people that are experienced, right? What do the data mean? Like in the grand scheme of things with respect to experience, time, human beings, social construct, emotions, right? What does the data mean, right? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. So when you tell me how many men, we're talking numbers again, right? We're talking about men, numbers again right now, are dated. But she's not wrong as usual. She's right. Not only is she right, here's another proof that she's right. But the problem with this is that we're talking about this person went out with a white boy now, not with a black man. You see the problem with data? The problem with data is that we tend to just talk from our ass and just the knowledge and all the different nuances. Your stock data, the sample data is from a sample data, right? From a sample, meaning there is 7 billion people, at least 5 billion people in this world, but it's probably at the most 10,000 people in the data that was sampled for the data that you're regurgitating, right? So as much as she wants to make a point here, she's right? But again, I think she's speaking more so to black men. She's accusing black men. So I'm not saying she's wrong at all. I'm just saying it's a very dangerous thing when you become one of the thousands of people that are spreading and going viral, regurgitating stupid data. Those data becomes the truth. That's why truth are not absolute truth. They're bullshit. They're just your idea of truth, right? Fact also has its limitation. Truth and fact has its limitations. You have to deal with people at individual levels. Your skill set, your social and your emotional intelligence skill set is much more powerful than any of this data, because at least you have the ability to be able to discern people's spirits. You've had enough experience to be able to detect bullshit from thousands of miles away. And that when I see some of these comments, I can tell, right? So she says, I've put your hands and I've dated. Look around and see how many black women and single mothers. Most of us haven't experienced black love. All right. So while that can be very true, when this is your outlook on life, when you watch a video that was supposed to bring your attention away from the data a little bit, and you refocus back on it, it tells me, it proves my point. This data point will become your truth. You will start to see life with this lens. It becomes your lens of life. You would now attract more of it, right? So while you're right that most women have not experienced black love, how about you apply the same thing you apply when you're about to go for the PhD? Most black women have not seen PhD either, but the ones that go for it, they go for it hard and they achieve it. Just because they mean business and they go for it. The same thing with black men, right? So no matter how much factual your data is, which I never argue with the data, by the way, because the datas are the datas. It's the same problems with people regurgitating this. It's the same problems across board, right? But when you regurgitate it so much and that's the only content you watch online, it becomes your truth because you're a spirit like me. You start to breathe it. It becomes your reality. You move like that. It's just there are weird, twisted ways that it starts to manifest in your life. I know I sound kumbaya as fuck, but I know exactly what I am talking about. Just look around you. That's why I use the PhD example. If you want a master's degree, all you have to do is set your mind on it. And then deflect everything. Yes, deflection. Deflect away from everybody that will tell you it's impossible. People will, listen, people can pull data that will tell you it's impossible that you can achieve master's degree. The data exists, right? People can pull data as a young black man that will say, hey, it's impossible that you will live up to 50 years of age. But we know that that's a lie, because you can actually live up to, they will tell data that proves that you cannot go past 21 years of age without dying or going to jail. But the data will become wrong in your personal life when you bring it down to individual level, right? While the data is still right, you can defile that data, right? So that's what I wanted to pull out of this old news with the Asia, this very sad story of Asia Maynard, who disappeared. If this guy was a black man, people would have used the data, unfortunately, to destroy that black man. Not only that, the society doesn't work. So this is for you now, black men. The society, unfortunately, doesn't work in your favor like that. So you have to be careful with how you move. There's not a lot of grace for you. There's a lot more grace for a white man than it is for you. At least in the United States of America, right? There's a lot more grace. And it's just what it is. It's called social construct. It's called the way it is. It's called, hey, it's a sad situation. We continue to work to make things better, but you can't count on that happening in your lifetime. So you have to make sure that you build a shield around yourself. And one of the best way to build a shield around yourself is to not destroy your own. Don't face each other and start fighting each other, right? Get away from the gender wars. Get away from tribalistic views, right? We can maintain our own lane while we support other people, while we still maintain what we're trying to get for us as individuals, as a group of people, without fighting each other. It's okay if people say you're pandering. You have to be absolutely okay with that. It's more of their problem than it's about you. You can't start simping to other men who don't want to grow. In the name of you don't want to become a simp, you effectively become a simp to other men, and you're pandering to other men because you can't maintain your own ground. Okay, so I don't know if you see the link in the lessons here with this young lady right here. It's a sad news. We don't know what we don't know. The point right now is that people are demanding for this guy to find, because all he did is reported the death of this lady according to the news. Let me see if there's any new updates. Asia Maynard, right? Let me see news. Okay, let's see what this news says. All right, let's see. All right, I'm gonna show this to you in a second. All right, so we have a news here from Fox 4. I think this happened in Kansas somewhere. Kansas City, yeah. A Kansas City murder death is getting nationwide attention. Fox 4 brought you story last week. The police department said it hasn't received final determination from the medical examiner about how Maynard died. Okay, so they said, so at one point people were spreading the news. So this news was from, let's see how long ago this was posted. This was posted 1 day ago. Yeah. So people were saying that they already finalized that it's natural causes. Asia was outgoing, great mother, loved to cook. She just loved her family. She said her life isn't as bright without her sister, Asia. The 29-year-old mother of 4 died on February 19 after her family said she went on a date with a man they didn't know. So they want answers, all right? But what we know is that this guy that she went on a date with is a white boy. So again, there are exceptions to every rule. And your data, when you look about your data being the maximum 10,000 data sample out of 5 billion people, just always know that when I say exception to the rule, that's a significant number of exceptions. So you're just doing yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice by believing a lot of numbers. You can experience black love. You can. It's okay to say, hey, I don't want to limit myself. If you have that room in yourself that you don't want to limit yourself to just black people, that's fine too, right? But when the scripture says do not be unequally yoked, make sure that you're aware that when people have a different background from you, if you go marry a white person as a black person or vice versa, and you don't think there's going to be forces against you, you're lying to yourself. Let me tell you something. Already without that kind of barrier, there's already forces against you, right? So just be aware that there's going to be forces against you this additional forces against you when you cross certain lines. You go from religion to religion. You go from one race to another race. You go from a person from a different cultural background to another one. These are real life forces against your relationship that will show up later. Not when you're in love, of course, but to show up later in one form or the other. Just be aware of that, okay? And no one is talking about that. Everyone is talking about data. You want to experience love. So nah, stop it. You're a human being, and the forces are real, okay? The forces are real. Just trust me on that the forces are really, really, really real. All right. So with that being said, I think the first thing I want to get into is this news. Yeah, let's move on to the next this one. I have two main videos I want us to react to, and then we'll take it from there. Two main videos I want us to react to, okay?
We were going through a spiritual.
All right, so we have this young lady right here. Her name is Avonte. Avonte, what's her name again? Avonte something, you know. Avonte something, you know. Let me find her name really quickly. Let me make sure I say her full name. But anyway, she used to date Michael of Boys to Men. I think that's enough, you know. That's enough right there. She used to date it wasn't exactly date, it was a weird situation. So I want you to listen to it yourself, and then we react together. It's some weird. This by the way is on Wine with Us. Okay, you could go watch the full thing up there. So I'm using this video in fair use, just so we can react to it. But let me just see if I can really quickly grab her. Her name, her full name is Avonte Wright. Yeah, Avonte Wright. That's her full name. Yep. All right, so let's talk about this really quickly. This is gonna be fun. Let's see. I'm just gonna play and then I'll react, just so we can make sure we keep the time on the wraps and not, because I tend to be long-winded a little bit. All right, so let's go.
Journey, and so he called me from the wedding and was like, "Are you going to be okay with this?"
From the wedding.
From the wedding.
Not before the wedding.
Not before the wedding. Well, it was at the wedding.
This guy called from his wedding to ask a side chick slash spiritual side chick, if she was gonna be okay with him moving forward. They're still married to today. It looks like they're still married to today, and they're actually lovey-dovey on Instagram and fantastic. So this is an exception, you know. Some people will say if you start your marriage like that, it will fail at some point. Again, you never know until somebody dies that if it will last a lifetime, right? But they're going strong after years, you know. From the look of things, we're talking about Michael from Boys to Men. Let me show you his face so you can see what does man look like. This is him right here. That's him. You remember Michael, right? From Boys to Men, okay, and that's the young lady. So let's keep going.
You know how the guys go.
Yes.
So
he got so you know how the pastor asked a question. Does anybody have any objections to this matrimony? Mm-hmm. And so he called you before, or maybe when the pastor said, "Is there any objection?"
Let me make sure. She ain't gonna object. Yeah, he called me just to make sure, because we were definitely going through that journey together. So he called me and he was like, "Are you gonna be okay with this?" And I said, "Absolutely. Go marry your wife." I sure did. I was really okay with it.
Now, how old were you?
She was really okay with it. She's claiming she was really okay with it. Okay? That's what she's claiming. At this point, I'm going to call cap on that. There's a lot of people that do this. Now, her being okay with it or not being fully aware of her mental state at that point in time, it's a different ballgame entirely. I think a lot of women will claim that, yeah, I can be okay with certain things. And some men will fall for this, right? When a woman is advising you, you have to always take it with a pinch of salt, especially a woman, but even a man. When people are advising you, including myself, you take it with a grain of salt. There's no absolutes in life, right? So, but she goes, oh yeah, I'm okay. But women can be extremely flaky, right? But it gets weirder. This story right here gets weirder because she's also talking about some kind of spiritual situation going on here, right? There are people all over the place like this that get spiritually confused. I call it spiritual confusion, okay? It's just human beings being human. It's about me. I always say this all the time. Don't put any human being on a pedestal, including me, yourself, everyone. They fall off very quickly. Another way of saying is that do not put your trust in men. That's another way of saying that, including yourself. Let's keep going.
How old were you when you started dating?
I was younger.
Shawn. Okay. And
So at least she admitted that she was younger. This girl was a model from the 90s, from the late 90s into the early 2000s, right? So she was another girl that's hanging around. This is not a premiere. This is actually live, my friend. Okay? No, Rambo, you're undefeated. This guy is undefeated, and I love you for that, right? You're the type of guy that give unsolicited advice. I hear you, bro. If you want to watch the shorter video, just watch. You can watch them. They will be released as shorter clips later. Okay. This is live taping. You're just hanging out with me on the live taping. Okay. The people that like it, the people like Just Jay, they don't complain about it. Okay. And in addition to that, it's also a way for us to garner some watch hour from. That's the way YouTube works. But thanks for your advice. I take it nonetheless. Thank you. All right, so let's keep going. This is going to be a little bit longer, by the way, just so you know.
Wife, Sharonda, whom he is still married to.
He's still married to her.
They are photographed together in the airport, taking trips.
Beautiful couple.
Beautiful, family.
Yes.
And when you see that now, and you know that you were a part of the journey before they became married, and then while they were married for a very long time, like I said, you weren't a mistress, you were a spiritual wife because you married him spiritually.
Agreement.
Spiritual wife. Did you hear that part? It's going to get a little bit weirder, like I said, okay? Now, I'm a fan. I don't discount people's spiritual journey, but I think all that spiritual nonsense is part of the human mind. It's all part of the psychology of human beings. There's a need to feel safe. And sometimes the way we find our need to feel safe is by going into this realm where we feel like, oh, suddenly there's something bigger that can answer certain questions, right? It's basically our undefeated quest to get every question's answered. It's a great way to fail in life. You want to fail in life? Try to get every question's answered, okay? Try to get every problem solved. Don't pick your battles. That's a very quick way to fail in life. That's why data points and all this stuff continue to get defeated, because it's a way for people to get every question's answered, as opposed to lean into the experience of life as a human being. Let's keep going.
Before we got into relationship. And my agreement with him was, I want to know the truth. I want to know what I'm getting into. So we need to talk.
So you appreciated his honesty.
Yes.
There you go. You know how many people tell you they appreciate honesty? Appreciate honesty, faithfulness. A lot of men in the manosphere are like that, by the way. Most of them, they like honesty, faithfulness. It's a quest to have every questions answered. That's what people mean when they say that. They want to know everything up front. It's an obsession with the need to be right. That's all it is. Now, do I value honesty? I do. I think it's just the bare minimum, though. I think it's the bare minimum that you should expect from anyone you're in a relationship with. There's more work to be done. Just because somebody is giving you honesty doesn't mean that you're going to have a successful relationship. As a matter of fact, if you think that is, you just increased your blind spot when it comes to relationship, and it's highly likelihood that it's going to fail. Let's keep going.
I tell men that all the time. You ain't never got to cheat as long as you be honest with your wife or your woman. She will respect you more.
She would definitely. And I did respect him because he was extremely.
Wait. Just note that part. She said she will respect you more. in this reaction video, let's see how far that goes. Let's see how strong that ideology stand, right? Let's see how long it stand. Again, the truth is a function of time, okay? This story is coming like 20 years right now. 20 years, literally. So, again, the idea of you know the truth just because we're talking right now is bullshit. The same thing goes for me. It's bullshit. Nobody knows the truth. It's bullshit. The only thing that knows the truth is time. Time, patience. You will never know the truth until after the lifetime of whatever we're talking about. That means your lifetime, okay? Let's keep going.
Be honest with me. When
Let's
there
see
were
how
other
it
women,
stands.
he made sure that he brought them.
Women say this all the time. I will respect you. Let me put the cap on. Let me help them put the hat on right now. Because again, I need a sound effect, okay? I need a sound effect. If you know how to access the sound effect of stop the cap, I'm gonna need I need to improve my experience here a little bit, right? That's cap, but again, I need to prove it in this particular video right now, okay? In this segment, let's keep going.
You know, and he brought them to me. Like he definitely.
Wait a minute.
We talked.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, he was a big deal, and we're still friends to this day. And
So he brought them all the other girls, any other experience, but this guy had a whole wife. But this girl was delusional throughout that process, thinking that she was in they were like part of the Israelite religion, something like that they were all part of, right? And she was delusional all the way through, and she called it, honesty, and she's still saying it. But the funny part about this is that this guy subscribed to, according to her, this guy subscribed to it at that point in time too. Or did he? Or was it just a way for him to keep a bunch of girls around?
And he's an amazing person. Like he was a big deal, and that's why I don't say his name. Because,
Yeah.
you know, we're still friends even after that.
So she dumped somebody else for Michael Shawn, who is getting married to another person, who called from his wedding, are you going to be all right with this, right? And she's still saying years later to that person, she's still saying, oh yeah, he was, what is it? You know, he's a good person, but you dumped him. It gets real. What does that tell you? It doesn't matter if you're a good person or not. That a good person is not a skill set. Being a bad person is not a skill set either. It's just one or the other, right? Now, those are real things that can affect lives, of course. I'm not saying they can affect lives, but I'm just saying if you're looking to improve your skill set in terms of learning how to live an awesome life, just being a good person is not enough. That's all I'm saying.
And
So he found out about
he
Shawn
didn't.
eventually.
He eventually through probably the television show, the VH1 show that I did,
Yeah.
but he didn't know. He was like, you guys are friends, but he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know why I left.
This is the ex. The ex who she was actually engaged to. Now, this chick was a video vixen from the late 90s, 2000. Okay? Yeah, I don't like to generalize, but sometimes we do, right? Let's keep going.
So I guess, hi.
I love it. So, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you. Hold on now. Listen. I'm sorry. Never, like, I guess how long into you guys sleeping together and once you made that spiritual covenant and he already made another covenant with his wife, did she finally find out? It's her?
I think she finally found out when I left the information at her door.
Oh, okay. Wait. Remember, she was okay and she will respect him if he was truthful. Years later, this girl is leaving notes for this guy's wife. How much respect are we talking about again? Or is this the expiration date on this kind of respect? You know, by the way, let's be clear. Respect is subjective, right? Respect is subjective. That's the bottom line. Respect is subjective. Let's keep going here.
After 9 years or 8 years.
You savage.
Happened leading up to that.
Okay.
It was about a year. I was so unhappy.
Okay. Why were you unhappy?
And because he was doing things that we didn't agree to.
So you were happy all the 8 years that you guys were together?
6-7 years. And then like the last year or so, I wasn't happy because I was starting to find out some of the things that he was doing.
Oh, wait. So the initial respect had an expiration date on it. Right? Initial respect had an expiration date on it, right? Oh, it started to change his behavior. So you didn't know that before? There's all kind of sick people on the streets. Keep that in mind. And they're all good people. All good people.
Behind my back.
Like what?
I've never like paid rent or anything like that, no.
Okay.
But I always had that.
But you were always with him, so.
No, they weren't real wife and husband. They were spiritual. This is just a spiritual wife to your husband, Just Jay. So it really shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't be a big deal. Since it's just in the spiritual realm, right? It really shouldn't be a big deal. According to this young lady, according to how she was thinking at the time. Now remember, I don't know, if you go watch this video on Tasha K's platform, she claimed that another side chick triggered her because that side chick was being entitled. But I'm hearing entitlement all over this video as well. And a lot of not being accountable. But anyway, let's keep going.
He never had to worry about me. And I think that's what made him so comfortable with me, because he never had to worry about me. If he ever didn't.
Wait, he never had to worry about you until you came to the front door and left a letter for the wife. Uh-oh.
Have money. I'll be like, don't worry about it. I got it.
What? Mm-hmm. Shawn Stockton from Boys II Men didn't have no money?
Well, it was a time where he was losing his house, and you know what I'm saying. So
they've all gone through that.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Religion. So it was like you're supposed to, obey your man and do all of this. But I was so depressed.
Wait. She was actually playing the wife, even in the spiritual realm. But by the way, they were fucking. That's how delusional this girl was. Okay. They were. Not only that, if you go watch this full video, there were actually other girls who this guy was potentially playing in the same way. But how delusional, right? But I would argue that the guy was just as young and delusional at that time too. He actually probably believed in some of those spiritual nonsense. Again, spiritual confusion. You go to any church, you will find them. Okay, you'll find them. Even in this manifest space, there's some of them that you could just hear that they don't realize that there's an additional skill set beyond your ability to regurgitate spiritual bullshit. It's real. So this time is no longer data, empirical data bullshit. It's spiritual bullshit.
I was like severely depressed, and I woke up one day and was like, I have to burn the bridge down.
All right, so that goes for all of you young men, okay? One day, whoever you're playing can wake up, no guarantee in life, right? They can wake up and decide to burn the bridge down. They will decide to go all the way back to the beginning. Men do this, by the way. In fact, there are men in this space right now that are doing this in this mental space right now, right? They go back and pull out all the receipts. It's feminine energy, it is what it is, right? They pull out all the receipts and they want to burn the bridges down when they feel depressed or they feel like you've hurt them and you feel like you've crossed them in any way, shape, or form. So be careful who you align yourself with. It's real. They will burn the bridge down the moment they feel wronged, right? So it's going to happen to the best of us, by the way. Just be willing to receive it with your chest when it happens. But it could be a very detrimental, it could be a very dangerous situation where you're losing your whole family. So Michael could potentially lose his family over this at some point in the past or into the future. Yes, it's real. These things are real.
And the only way I can burn the bridge down is go to the beginning of the bridge.
Go to the beginning of the bridge.
So I knew I had to do something drastic, because if it was just arguments and I'm like, I'm leaving.
So understanding.
Yeah, I was so understanding, and I always made it clear that I didn't want to be that her. you know, and not in a mean way.
Yeah.
But I just wanted my relationships to be more.
Wait, she said she wasn't gonna be that. What do I tell you about people's commitment all the time? It's bullshit. When people go to the altar, they say, I commit to this marriage. It's also bullshit because they don't know what they're committing to. People that say I do don't know what they're doing, right? They just don't. That's 100% true all the time, right? But it's even worse when we're talking about people that have no construct of masculine energy around them. No father, not raised with father, no man in their lives, no structure in their life of some sort, right? They would tend to make a decision off of common sense sometimes, but they will back out of that decision if it feels wrong. We all do that sometimes, but some people are more dangerous than the other, right?
Honest. And I knew she didn't know what her husband was doing. So I knew I didn't want that.
So you knew she didn't know what her
and
husband was doing, but somehow you justify that bullshit by calling it spiritual wife. You know how many people justify with spiritual bullshit? So justify wrongdoings with spiritual bullshit. It happens all the time. We're gonna keep bringing us some examples here too. If you like this video, I'm gonna keep bringing examples of it. I'm telling you, common sense is a terrible guide to life. The best guide to life is examples, real life examples. How many times do you see people talk for long streams on YouTube and Clubhouse, and they didn't bring up any examples? There's no examples. And when you ask them and say, hey, you have any context? You have a story you want to share? It's like, why does it got to be about my story? Why does it got to be about my story? Because, God damn it, you're regurgitating bullshit like everybody else. And people just talk back and forth all day long, talking nothing. The best guide to life is this real life examples, case studies. And that's what you're gonna keep getting on this platform, okay? Sometimes I will leverage Reddit, some of the emails I get some emails, and celebrity news. That's what we're going to keep doing on this platform. I promise you.
Yeah. That I wrote to her because I really did feel bad. And that's what triggered me with
She felt bad.
Ariane is her name?
But she's gonna
Is
burn the
because
bridge.
I just didn't understand how she didn't have compassion.
So Ariane is a ex-mistress of Martell from a show called Love and Marriage, Huntsville. My wife and I watch it. We review it on the other platform quite a lot. So you should check that out on their own network as well too. And the girl came online with Tasha K and spilled her news, and she got triggered by that girl because she wanted to call her out for being entitled. But again, what I'm hearing from her is entitlement. It's real. Can't make it up.
The wife, like, I don't care. I knew that our verbal agreement did not hold up to their risk.
This would be my final step to being free. And as I write this,
she's reading her letter that she's writing to the wife of Michael from Boyz II Men.
Tears won't cease. How can I have been so stupid? I also ask myself, I just don't wish this for anyone else. I really do feel like you have the right to know the truth about your husband and that you can make a correct decision regarding you and your family.
Terrible.
I'm so sorry, Avonte.
Yes, that was the letter.
That's an unsolicited apology. It's one of those type of apologies that nobody can appreciate, right? You are a side chick, both physically and spiritually. You came to drop this letter at the house. It's extremely dangerous behavior. Instead of a letter, you could have brought a weapon. These people are extremely dangerous. People like this are extremely dangerous. Even now, they're dangerous. Like if this came out like a few days ago, I would definitely suggest to beef up security around his family. I'm talking about Michael from Boyz II Men. This kind of people, they're self-righteous and they're dangerous.
So you were crying writing this?
Oh, I was in deep depression. So if he
I
would
need
have...
more wine. This is too much. As a wife, I felt that.
Yeah, I was in a deep depression at the time.
So we're supposed to feel sorry for her, which I do feel sorry for her because it's actually more about troubles than this guy, but it's also very dangerous, right? But we're supposed to have some kind of empathy for this, right? All right. At the end of the day, this is all psychological issues, mental issues, and others, but it cannot be excused. We can't excuse it too much. You are responsible for the way you move in this life. You're responsible for the people you attract. And men, when you play this dangerous game, if you're using spiritual, there's a lot of pastors that are using this spiritual bullshit to manipulate young girls. A lot of times, these pastors believe in the same shit, by the way, so it's not always deliberate. but I'm pointing them out right now just so you know. There's a real skill set to life, okay? And people will look for, in pursuit of their emotional needs, certainty, variety, contribution, safety. They're gonna say nonsense. They're gonna subscribe to nonsense and then hurt other people in the process. We all have to be careful, to be honest with you, because of this kind of situations.
And I left that letter and I left the video, and I wanted her to know that I didn't want him to be able to say, oh, she's a groupie at the time, being that she was pregnant. So she was she went to the hospital.
Damn.
So she ended up in the hospital. The wife
was so angry.
The wife seen that news, and that letter ended up in the hospital because she was pregnant, and then I guess she went into some kind of she passed out or something like that. They ended up in an emergency room because of situations like this. Listen, when the worst thing you want to do is to hurt the feeling of a pregnant woman. Okay, and I'm speaking from experience. They never forget. They never ever forget. It took, especially if you're like an average man, it will keep coming to the surface. It will keep coming back to this. Never try your best not to hurt the feelings or hurt a pregnant woman. I know you're also vulnerable in that point, especially as a husband. You're all going through it, but try that 9 months. Be aware that however way you hurt her in that period, she will never forget. This is something I never heard anybody ever say, and I wanted to take a few seconds to spell that out, right? So now this woman was pregnant, and his side chick, a spiritual wife, came to leave this letter.
At him. I was more angry at him that I didn't know she was pregnant, because I'm like, I would have never done that if I knew she was
She was
pregnant.
angry at
I
him.
would have just held on for another 8 months or whatever it was that she was, gonna carry the baby, and waited, because I didn't want her to have to suffer for his decisions.
So you see what I'm talking about right now?
Hungry. Are you looking for a quick meal?
You would still go back
I would
because
still
of the
go back.
secrets.
Yeah, just everything. And he was the only thing that I had at that moment as far as like relationship.
See, she was sick mentally. He was the only thing that she had. So if you have a side chick, be aware these people may have trauma from a long time ago. They may just be using you. Eventually, it's gonna come out. It may be 20 years later, it's gonna haunt you down. And nobody gets away with nothing in life. Keep the man, woman, in betweens, nobody get away with nothing in life. Just keep that at the back of your mind. That's why I tell people the one skill set is learning how to handle crisis, because crisis is inevitable in life, in your relationships, in your marriage. It's going to happen. But if you have the skill set to be able to handle it, you are better off than most people. Most people are busy learning how to love, how to build your relationship, how to that's what they're busy doing. The most important of all of this is learning how to handle crisis, especially as a man when it shows up, because the onus of that will be heavily laying on you.
I lost a lot of my friends.
You lost your friends because of him?
Yeah, because before Shawn, I'm this young, on magazine covers, everybody, rocks with me, and now I can't go out. I kind of cover myself.
Yeah, she was just a sick person,
I
like a lot
can't
of
really
people.
hang out with the homies like I used to, because they're from the world.
They are from the world, another spiritual language. People that belong in the world, right? In the manosphere, they said people that belong in the streets, right? People that belong in the world. They're different types of people, right? And we get stuck on just the difference in the religion, forgetting that there are other dimensions to life. There is cultural dimensions to life. There's race. There's other groups of people. There's tribal. For those of you that live in Africa, you know that tribal war is a real thing, right? These things are inevitable. If you're going to be marrying people, like I told you, I married the same tribe. We still run into stumbling blocks. By the second year in our marriage, we still run into this stumbling block. And it came from a complete blind spot. I thought I figured it all out. I thought I was smart. I always laugh at all these kids that say age doesn't mean anything. You don't think age doesn't mean anything, but time means a lot. Time and experience is everything. Everything. Okay? Yes, maturity is not necessarily it's not the one factor, but it's a factor, and it's a big old factor. At least somebody that has time and experience can teach you what not to do. At least what not to do. Even if it's just you observing them. Right? So again, let's keep going here.
Like, So that's why when the young lady contacted me, I understood what she was coming from.
So you felt like the only way to break
so
free
now
from
she
him
started to
was-
find other
And then I
sidekicks.
checked Twitter, and then I seen that he called me the devil.
Oh, see, that's one thing. Don't turn around and call your ex side chicks a devil. Don't do that. Okay? Yeah, it's the same rules with ex-wives. Same rule with anybody you've had any kind of relationship with. You want to maintain your frame as the man, especially in that equation. Never turn around and call or just start shaming and insulting the people that are exes in your life. You're going to hurt yourself. Right? You're going to hurt yourself. That's the bottom line. Don't turn around and people you have even business relationship with in the past, don't turn around and stop shaming and insulting them. It's going to come back and bite you. I see a lot of YouTube streets beefs right now. I see it. People are pulling receipts and hurting themselves, using ammunitions from the past to hurt themselves. You're going to self-destruct. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. Let's keep watching. Everyone, see, I'm not mentioning names, right? There's a reason. There's a specific reason why I'm not mentioning names. It's because I'm just saying, I'm talking in general. But you can look around you if you watch a lot of videos on the YouTube streets. If you turn around and pull receipts to hurt people you've been in a relationship with in the past, in whatever capacity, you're going to self-destruct. Because again, you're coming from a place that you're right. And you're right that you're right. But that's not how life works. That's not how life works. I guarantee you. Let's keep going. Let's finish this up.
Because basically in the religion, if you leave your husband, you go to hell. So he was like, you basically going to hell.
So out of nowhere, let me see if I can find this tweet. Hold on for a second.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So
I know Twitter says everything. That's why I be careful with what I tweet. You understand? Because
so he said he told me I was going to hell.
And I mean, did his wife know that he was talking to
you? He told
her
her she was going to hell. He kept manipulating her even after the relationship was over. These niggas don't learn nothing. I think the lesson is there. I think it was very clear, and I think in between the lessons were there. I got one more reaction to do today. Oh man, the internet is undefeated. There's lessons everywhere. My job is to bring you these lessons. That's my job. That's all. That's my calling right now. Man of prestige. That's my calling, and and we're gonna keep going. I'm enjoying it. The success on this platform right now, we've increased, I don't know, by about almost 5,000% in growth and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh my God. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. No, they don't learn. You're absolutely right. All right, welcome back. So there's this video. This happened on my sister's. I call her my sister now. She's my friend. Tawana. Tawana was actually used to be on the Lapif network. And
what's the conversation that's been
that's
had?
Tawana right there. Okay. And there's this video. We're going to. I think it was our last live stream. I'm not sure if she's done anyone since then. But you could go on her platform. You can learn it. I think it's about do the black men hate black women. That's what it's about. Okay. But this was like a 5 hours live stream. So definitely please go ahead and support her and watch this video. There's a lot of moments of lesson in it. If you're not going there to take sides. Okay. If you're going there to take sides, you won't learn the lessons. For obvious reasons, right? The lessons is when you start to read people's body language, how they move, how they talk, how they relate with other people, how they converse with other people. Do they tend to yell at the top of their lung? And gentlemen went on this stage, right? And they went there to I think I'm gonna let you be the judge of this conversation. Let's go. Let's go.
What you got to add?
I think it's a much layered conversation when we're saying.
So there are two gentlemen. I'm not gonna name their names. I'm gonna call one John. John is about to talk right now. The other one is David. No, there's a David in this platform. It's not him. But David has, David, my brother David, Nigerian, Canadian Nigerian. It's not him anyway. So you can tell it's not him if you know him. So let's use John and David. First guy is John. The other one is David. David is actually a guy that I've seen on other platforms, and I've seen him say things that make sense. But it goes to tell you that anyone can get caught up in their feelings, especially if they're not careful in this manosphere space. They can start believing the bullshit and then get stuck in a limbo. And David got stuck in a limbo. And when you hear his voice, if you haven't watched this video, you know what I'm talking about. If you want to know who I'm talking about, go support Wana Chika. I decided to just show her face because, again, I don't want to show other people's face that are not running the platform. But let's watch.
When we're asking,
so John is talking right now.
Black men hate black women. Personally, I think no. I will say that it's very much so misguided anger, which showcasing basically an inability to process said anger effectively and efficiently. Showcasing basically an inability to process said anger effectively and efficiently. And the anger is really due to circumstance. And sadly, due to that state, they take out their emotions. We tend to take out our emotions and our feelings out on the closest thing within our proximity, which is unfair and is unhealthy.
And he's right. That's some of the things I tell people in marriage. Whenever I'm coaching and counseling, I said, listen, it's only natural for you to take out your aggravations. You take it out on your frustration. You take it out on the closest person to you. We all do it, especially when we're not aware. And that's something that we all need to be aware of.
Now, there are other elements that need to also be addressed that I've witnessed myself. There are times when I've had misguided anger, but I've also...
So I like the fact that he's holding himself accountable right there. He said there has been time that I've had, now you hear me say that here all the time. The only reason why I'm able to share some of this lesson with you because I can relate from a personal experience standpoint. And that's usually me, okay? These are mistakes I've made, okay? So that's why I'm pointing them out.
This emotional dependency and also very unrealistic expectations.
Unrealistic expectations, emotional dependency. See, it takes emotional intelligence to be having this conversation at this level when we're talking about, do black men hate black women, right? Do black men hate black women? Most people, you know what they do? They start pulling out data. Let's keep going.
When you enter into a situation with someone, whether it be a marriage, a courting, whatever it is, you have to really ask yourself before you even go down that road. Are you looking for a partner or are you looking for an enabler? It goes for men and women. Do you really want a partner, someone who is going to be with you?
So this gentleman was talking, everything he was saying to me actually made sense, right? But again, that's my opinion, right? I could be wrong, right? Like everybody else. So let's...
about
his thoughts on it.
When you're having issues at your job, so that is, in a nutshell. I know you have to get to other...
So I jumped forward by about 4 minutes just to make sure I'm not wasting time. If you want to watch the full thing, just go watch on Wana Chika on YouTube.
We can't hear you, Tamar.
Sorry, I realized that after I was talking. There will be some open discussion, Haran, but I want us to get to the questions because I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
So what he's about to say right now is what got everything derailed. Just watch.
And like, especially the ladies from the ladies' room, because I invited them. If they need to take longer, that's fine. But everyone else, like, let's just try to.
Oh, can I say one thing about
Yes,
the question that's
He's
up
about
right
to get
there?
in trouble.
Oh, Haran. Okay, I'm gonna let you say one more thing. Go ahead.
Just one more thing.
By the way, John is still talking, and John is about to get into serious trouble. Now with the ladies, there's about 5-6 other ladies on the platform that really ended up respecting John. They enjoyed what he's saying because it's making sense, and at least it's coming from a place of empathy. There's another gentleman, David. I call him David. I'm just gonna call him David, right? And he was on the platform, and he had all the manosphere talking points. He was good at it too. So he's about to get in trouble with the manosphere talking points by saying what he's about to say. Watch.
Personally speaking, ain't nobody taking me out of my own home. That's just it.
Thank you.
Ain't nobody throwing me out of my house.
Thank you.
So one of the questions was that, okay, there's this talking point manosphere that black women were, okay, so this welfare, right? The story of welfare, the history of welfare was given to black women, and that enabled them to take the black men out of their homes. And the manosphere people, they talk about this all the time, right? And they said, oh, this is a major factor why black men ended up leaving their homes, right? And that's what they're about. And this gentleman said, hey, ain't nobody taking me out of my home, right? And right there is when he got in trouble. What did he do? What's the offense? He pandered, according to manosphere. He pandered, right? He was a simp, according to manosphere, right? It's terrible. When are we gonna get this right? Right? But let's just see how this play out, right? I'm gonna allow you to be the judge. Was he the simp? Was it Mr. Panderson here? Or was it the other way around? Let's find out.
Let's talk about welfare, because this
sounds good, Haran.
This is the craziest.
Oh, David said that sound good. Oh, okay, he released his name, Aaron. His real name was Aaron. But David, you're gonna probably hear the other person. I won't show their face, right? David, in my opinion, David said that sound good, Aaron. I get that a lot. Okay, I get that a lot because it almost comes off I'm trying to appease. You know, it's either Nigerians say I'm appeasing to black Americans, dumb fucks, let me just say. Or men say I'm appeasing to women, dumb fucks as usual. I'm just saying it. That's how I feel right now. But you get the gist, right? Let's keep going here. As a matter of fact, in this moment, I'm probably doing the same thing, right? According to them. But it's low vibration behavior. That's what it is. It's the same thing I talk about here all the time. It's people that know all the data. They have IQs, especially the EQs are struggling. Okay? And today, I'm going to make their godfather correct them. Okay? Let's keep going.
I mean, you also have the choice, brother.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
If you also have the choice.
Here's the thing, Haran. A lot of men think the welfare took them out the home. And so because this is one of the talking points of the men who said, yeah, he agrees, we do hate black women, and this is why. This is a talking point. One of the first is that government.
So they're asking you, do you hate black women? And your answer is that, oh yeah, welfare allow black women to take us out of the home. So no, we don't hate black women. Does that make any sense? You're basically justifying that you're coming off as you hate black women. That's what you're doing. Do we not process? It's like people that say, oh no, marriage is not 50-50, it's 100-100. It's the same shit. Same damn thing. You're missing the real lessons, right? Let's keep going.
Government assistance took them out the home, kicked them out the homes. So what say y'all to that comments? And I let me start with the lady. Let me start with Ashley. Go ahead, Ashley.
No, Ashley, no. I jumped it. I need to hear David.
I want to pose a question to what's his name? He got the circle on the Herman DeMarco. That's his name.
So David is talking right now. The Davids of the manosphere tend to have the higher pitch. They tend to be louder, right? Because they are so confident. Because data gives them confidence. Unfortunately, that's the problem, right? Data gives you confidence as opposed to you having confidence that comes from inside out. If your confidence comes from data, you will struggle. You are probably going to be socially awkward. You probably have trouble engaging adults in a healthy conversation. But again, I'm speaking in absolutes because to be honest with you, John failed this exam, this shit test. John also failed it because John got caught up in his feelings at some point. This is what you will never see me do on any panel. Okay? Not because I'm better. It's because I kind of have an idea of where it's going to result to. It's not, the result is not going to be good, so I just don't engage, right? If you ask me a direct question, I answer, right? Even when you ask me direct questions, I tend to long-wind a little bit sometimes. How much more if I just start regurgitating nonsense? And all of that tend to be long-winded. If you go on Clubhouse, you hear people talking for 5-10 minutes about nothing. They're saying nothing, bunch of bullshit, right? But it's allowed. It's the internet. Let's keep going.
Are you talking about Haran?
Haran DeMarco, he said nothing would make him leave his family, right? That's very noble of you, Haran. That's very noble. And it sounds
sign language, okay? It's about shame, insult, guilt. This is guilt here, especially guilt and need to be right. It's about to happen right now. Watch it. Men do it the most. Let's be clear. Men do it the most in these spaces.
Or my husband. Nothing will make welfare ain't gonna kick him out of his home.
Let me ask him
well, come on, Tuana. You can't speak for your husband. Come on. At least not now.
Government cheese and a $300 cheese.
Listen, if you were in a lot of black men's situation under welfare in these
oh, by the way, Tuana, at some point we'll do a collaboration together. I know I just did a virtual collaboration with you. We will make it happen. I'll reach out, you know. Let's keep going here.
Welfare situations, let me tell you something. You're either going to leave by choice or by force. By choice or by force. Trust me.
So one man says, ain't nothing gonna take me out of my home. We're talking about, do black men hate black women right now? The other man says, you're either going to leave by choice or by force. Essentially, you don't have any control. See, I always say letting go of control is a great skill set in life. But there's some control as a man that you definitely want to retain. And it's on your emotions, number one. It's on your ability to, the word I'm looking for, I just lost it, right? You have to be able to, you have to be ambitious, right? You have to be ambitious about your abilities. Especially when we're talking about from inside out. If you just think that this world is out to get you, there's a good chance that you're going to fall short all the time because that's just what you believe. If you lack abundance mindset, if you think that the world is just hate you, right? There's a good chance that you will feel attack from the world 100% of the time, meaning you will be busy defending all the time. You'll be extremely defensive half the time, right? And that's what you see David doing here. We have, hopefully his name would not be mentioned. I really wanted to protect him because usually this kind of guys, they take offense very quickly, and before you know it, we end up on the same panel, and he's probably going to do it right now too, and they have a hard time saying hello because they take everything so personally. They can't have a conversation unless it goes personal, but yet they try to not be personal about their own personal. They want to make everything generalized, right? And it's either the generalized or extreme anecdotal. It's never like, hey, what is the lesson here for everyone involved from an emotional standpoint? Let's keep going.
Wait. Hold on, let me finish. Because I want to pose a question to you.
He's posing a long-winded question. These questions are always long as shit, too.
No, hold on, bro. Let me pose a question to you, bro, so you can see where I'm coming from. Okay. Because you haven't been in a lot.
So you can see where I'm coming from. In other words, the question, we already have an answer. In other words, I'm not listening to you to understand where you're coming from. I'm only listening because I already know what I'm about to say to you, right? Again, it's a skill set. Communication skill set, effective communication. When you're listening with an intention to tackle and beat down the other person's talking point, that is not communication. That's just you talking. That's usually you talking way too much, usually, by the way. Let's keep going. This is even more applicable in marriage and relationships.
Of these black men situations, you just speaking hypothetically. You speaking hypothetically, bro. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Let Haran respond.
First of all, the court. We all know that the courts are more friendly to the black woman than it is the black man. So if you know
that's a fact.
It's not a lie.
Actually, that's a fact, but that's just part of social construct. Okay, that's just part of the idea that will protect women and children. It's not something that men are supposed to bitch about, but men are bitching about it. It is what it is, I guess, right? And I'm not discounting the experience of men. I'm just saying we have to say both sides. While I am saying it's a fact, that's a real thing that we should continue to work on to make society better, men should also understand that bitching about it actually makes it worse for you, makes the experience worse for you. Now you're beating your own women down, right? And these are the people that will basically, these are your ally, you're beating down your alliance, okay? And it's just going to backfire. It's going to work against you 100% of the time. That means you're only seeing things from you're getting caught up in your emotional. So David is getting caught up in his emotion. Let's watch. But to be fair, both of them are getting caught up in their emotion. So for me, if this was me, I would give him the last word. I would not have a response for this because I could detect that he already has answers for his own question. I said, you're right. I would just give him the right to be right. I said, you're right, bro. That's what I would say. So if you ever hear me say you're right, there's a good chance that I'm being condescending. But there's also a good chance that if I elaborate on why I think you're right, then you're probably, I really feel you're right. There are times that I will concede. It happens all the time too. But if I just go straight up and say you're right, there's a good chance that I'm just giving you your right to be right.
Know this. Statistically, it's not a lie. It's not a lie. So
But what
listen,
is that? Statistically, that's a lie.
I'm trying to ask Haran a question. I'm talking to another black man on this panel. I'm asking you a question. If you, let's just say you...
It's a rhetorical question, essentially.
Serve time in prison. You're in prison reform.
Oh, wait. You serve time in prison. We're not going to talk about why you got into prison. Oh, we already did. It's because of welfare, right? I guess. Is that true? Well, we don't know, right? Well, women have the incentive to push their women into prison, into the prison system, because of the $300 government cheese welfare. This is a theory that is making the case for, right? All right, let's keep going.
Got out.
It's the same argument that, 80% of divorces are initiated by women, but we never want to talk about what created the downfall of the relationship in the first place. Consistent.
You're trying to get on your feet with your baby's mom. She let you stay there. Now she has the power because it's her house.
Not your wife. Not your wife. Your baby's mom.
Baby mother. See, they always dig a hole for themselves.
I didn't say what. Listen, I didn't see you trying to stereotype. I didn't say whether that was his wife or not.
Just watch Tuana's face enjoying this right now.
Listen, newsflash: men in prison do have wives too.
But you said baby mom. You didn't say your wife. You said your baby mom.
Okay, your wife. Listen, I'm asking Haran a question. Let me ask you a question, Haran.
Go ahead.
If you're in prison reform, right, and you're out of...
Just Jay, I know you probably know this person's voice. Please do not say their name. don't say the name, but let's keep going.
And you're out of prison, and you moved in with your wife. You moved back in with your wife. She's adopted welfare. She has the power of the house. She has control. Right now, if you get into...
Wait. She has the power. She has the control. Now, to an extent, the woman control... They build a home, right? But that's a result of a man setting the tone, by the way, okay? That's a result of a man setting the tone. Women don't have the power to build a home. As a matter of fact, that goes left for the most part when they just have the absolute power and control to do the home. It just goes left. You need a man to set the tone. Most women, not all women, there are exceptions to the rule. Most women need or will find useful or want a man to set the tone because it just makes their life easier anyway, right? But again, he's giving his power away to the woman in this conversation. Not only in this conversation, even the way he's conducting himself in the argument, right? Thank you, Just Jay. Thank you.
With your wife, you guys can't see eye to eye. And she calls the authorities. Let me ask you a question. You on probation? Let me ask you a question. Are you going to stay there like a fool, or are you going to leave like a man with sense?
Why is the wife calling you?
So you leave your family like a man with sense because what happened again? I missed the backstory of that. Because there was welfare, there's incentives. That's a hell of a logic. Let's keep going.
Authorities on you.
I'm asking him a
Can I
question.
answer this question?
Okay.
I'm going to do two things.
You're acting like this doesn't matter.
Are you gonna live like a fool? Remember, I told you that this was gonna be a rhetorical question that already had answer. So if you claim if you're going to leave or what is it? Stay like a fool. Let me rewind a little bit.
You have wives too.
But you said baby mom. You didn't say your wife. You said your baby mom.
Okay, your wife.
Okay,
your
wife, baby mom,
Listen,
same.
I'm asking Haran a question.
It's different, by the way.
Let me ask you a question, Haran.
Go ahead.
If you're in prison reform, right, and you're out of prison, and
so prison reform, does that mean you went to jail without doing anything? Is that what that means? Because it sounds like you didn't do anything. You just end up in prison without doing anything. Now, it could be either way. You could end up in jail without doing anything. That's one of the reasons why I'm teaching these lessons. I'm sharing this lesson. I don't want to say teach, right? I'm sharing this lesson so that you can know that you are already vulnerable, especially as a black man, right? Yes, it's possible you can end up in jail without doing anything. But for the most part, is that the case? We know it happens, right? But let's keep going. But even at that, the lessons stand. The forces are against you as a black man. You cannot afford to be emotionally stupid. You can't afford it. You're going to basically fight your alliance, the women, and you're going to continue to destroy your community, and you need the community. You do, no matter how much you try to cap about that.
you moved in with your wife. You moved back in with your wife. She's adopted welfare. She has the power of.
Okay, so you came back from prison. You moved back with your power. Oh, okay, I'm getting the logic now a little bit, I guess. You move back with your wife, and then she has the $300 government cheese that's coming in every week, and suddenly she has the power to potentially kick you out because you're trying to run from the police because you have records, I guess. Okay, let's keep going.
The house. She has control. Right now, if you get into it with your wife, you guys can't see eye to eye. And she calls the authorities. Let me ask you a question. You on probation? Let me ask you a question. Are you going to stay there like a fool, or are you going to leave like?
So if you stay with your family, he's saying you're a fool.
Are you going to leave like a man with sense?
What?
So a man who leaves his family becomes a man with sense, because I guess prison reform, he could get picked up by police again. All right. So which part of this makes him a man? I'm confused. One of the things that the men in the manospheres are very sensitive to is when you start to define what a man is. They don't like that. Oh my God. They get in their feminine energy very quickly if you say what makes a man a man. Oh my God. But anyway, let's keep listening.
How's the wife calling the authorities on you?
I'm asking him a question.
Answer this question.
Okay.
I'm going to do
think
two
that's
things.
You're acting like this.
That's the question.
If y'all
Does it have
don't
something to do with these?
What happened? Why are they calling the authorities on you? But anyway, she should never call the authorities on you, I guess. Bullshit. Your wife will call authorities on you if you move a certain way. Be clear. Let's be clear. It doesn't matter how much she's in love with you. It doesn't matter how much of a duty, responsibility a wife is. It's bullshit. You get caught up in your feelings. She feels threatened. She will call the cop on you. You get that in your head. Even the best couples in the world. See, one of the problems with us men is that we don't realize how much a woman feels threatened when you start getting animated and you're all over the place, and we don't realize that. You need to realize that you're not the same as a woman. Stop making yourself equal to a woman with your rhetorics, with your talking points. You're competing with women and effectively making yourself equal to a woman. And you deserve every masculine energy that comes out of that. Because what's the next thing? If you're in your feminine energy, masculine energy has to come out somehow. Because again, the forces of the nature has to bring in some kind of structure. It looks like chaos up front.
Domestic violence.
Oh my God. So now he's beating on her.
Hold on,
Now he's beating
everybody.
on her.
Because
Answer the question, Haran.
hold on, Freezy. Because Talking Head is in this comment
said it.
section
She
talking
said it.
crazy. If y'all
I tried
don't
to
get him
remove
out of
it.
my comment section, talk stuff behind the avatar. Don't do that.
Answer my question, Haran.
This is a multi-layered question. It's a multi-layered question. I'm going to.
It's not a question. It's a rhetorical question. It's not even multi-layered. It's a stupid question. Yes, there is such a thing as a stupid question, but it is what it is. It's okay. I guess he wants to handle it like there's no stupid questions. I agree too. Let's keep going.
No, it's not multi-layered. I posed the situation I want you to answer.
Sir, Freezy, I'll let you speak. Okay?
There you have it. The name's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, Number one, let's just call it what it is. If you got to leave, you put yourself in the situation because you came out of jail. Why did you
Oh
go
my
to jail?
fuck. Okay, go ahead.
Why
Did you see that reaction? All right, let's not judge him on the moment, right? Yeah, let's not judge. It's just a moment. It's a feminine energy moment. It's okay.
you go to jail? By going to jail, you're basically putting yourself in a vulnerable situation, period.
Bro.
Facts, man. Don't put yourself, man of prestige. You need to be aware that you're already in a vulnerable situation, especially being a black man. Being a man, you're already in a vulnerable situation, right? You need to be aware of this, period. If you went to jail for whatever reason, if it's not your fault, it's unfair. Man, don't worry about being fair or unfair. It's the reality. It's unfair. It is what it is. You are in a vulnerable state already. Let's have that at the back of your mind.
Can you answer that exactly?
Bro, I just said this man got out of prison under prison reform. Do you know what prison reform is?
No accountability.
Do you know what prison reform is, bro?
No accountability,
Listen.
Do you know what prison reform is, bro? Obviously, you didn't hear my question.
Of course, you have Annalise here. If you don't know Annalise here, you need to go check out this video, the full video, right? Of course, she said no accountability. She has a foot on this man's neck, and it's kind of sad to watch because I personally would prefer that men are able to maintain their masculine frame, their emotional energy in this conversation. That's what I would personally prefer. The problem is that every time they do that or they see someone do that, they call it pandering. They don't know what it means to be a man in this social construct. Maybe they're a man 70 years from now. Maybe that's just what a man is going to look like 70 years from now, just completely equal. But it's just not the way it is right now. It looks sad right now.
You're getting emotional. Listen
No, it
to
is not.
logic right now. Listen to logic. You're getting emotional.
Right.
You are
now. If I have to tell another man to listen to logic, you're getting emotional, and I'm already yelling at the top of my lung. I also become equal to that situation. Sadly, I know what he's trying to do, but if I have to tell you to listen to logic, when I tell you to listen to logic, you get more emotional. That's the way the human brain works. This is the part that most people don't see coming. If I tell my woman, be a little bit more logical, she becomes more emotional. It goes in reverse. The mind works in reverse. You get it? Right? Because the need to be right kicks in. You become more emotional. You get it? Let's keep going.
Vulnerable because you went to jail.
So the problem is that John became more emotional as well because he now engages the need to be right. Not only that, in a few minutes here, you're going to hear him shame and insult his fellow brother. They did it together, back and forth. But these are the things we need to work on. These are the things as human beings, especially as a man, we need to work on. It's safe to say that they would argue that, hey, it's just a debate. They're also right. But I'm pointing out a major lesson here because this is becoming an epidemic. It's everywhere. You could see it everywhere. Just men getting caught up in their emotions, being more feminine than the ladies. Remember what I just said? More feminine than the ladies. If the ladies were not involved, I can't call it more feminine. If two men are arguing, we can arguably say it's okay for them to do that. But it's then, there's about 5 women on the same stage and they're not doing this. I'm forced to go in that direction.
Jail. Okay, when you go to jail, you are vulnerable. That is period, point blank.
That's a fact.
That goes for then, now, and in the future. Why you went to jail, I have no clue. That's on you. Now, if I didn't go to jail, I am in the position to say I'm not leaving the home because I'm not vulnerable.
So I'm going to stop it right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to a session here where they brought in the Pookie and the Ray Ray. The Pookie and the Ray Ray. All right. So there's a point here. They brought in the Pookie and the Ray Ray. The men of Manosphere always want to blame everything on the Pookie and the Ray Ray. And the problem is that the Pookie and Ray Ray is undefeated. They're winning. They're stealing your women. Your woman is leaving you for the Pookie and the Ray Ray. It's happening at every level. It's happening in high school. It's happening in college. I'm laughing because this is how they laugh. They never want to take correction, right? It's happening even in marriage. It's happening even 15, 20, 30 years marriage. There are women leaving their husband for the Pookies and the Ray Rays. The Pookie and the Ray Rays undefeated. And we're about to learn why, and we're going to call it the lesson, the main lesson of this session, okay? There's a lot of session there, but let's keep moving here. All right.
Right, y'all made it up to not be accountable for the community. So y'all made up a caricature of a man that you can put everything on. Every bad behavior that we ever bring up, y'all can just dismiss it as a Pookie and Ray Ray.
Pookie and Ray Ray. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Okay.
The Pookie and Ray Ray always find their way into these conversations for some reason. Anytime somebody brings up the Pookie and Ray Ray, it tells me they lack confidence. It tells me they lack social skills. It tells me they lack emotional intelligence. Okay, that's all it means. If you brought Pookie and Ray Ray into what is supposed to be an intelligent conversation, because you're about to make it a case to basically tackle the women, it tells me so much more than your talking points. Okay, and because women are generally more emotionally inclined to connect with the emotional language of any conversation, they pick that up too. They start looking at you as lame. I'm not saying my brother is lame. He had a lame moment. Let's just call it that. Let's keep going.
Go ahead.
Because Tawana says this all the time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Pookie and Ray Ray is the dude up the street. Pookie and Ray Ray is your homeboy. Pookie and Ray Ray, it could be.
I don't think Tawana brought it up. I think Tawana is saying it because she's heard it so many times used as an excuse, and she now it's become her talking point too. Tawana, myself, the people that are still they try to be centered, create a center for this conversation. We have to be careful because these things become truth. Like I said earlier, they start becoming truth. We start saying the talking points and the lingos. We start saying for the streets, Pookie and Ray Ray. We start using the same lingos, misogynistic, misandry. What's the other one? The other one, patriarchy. We start using all this language, right? We have to be extremely careful. For those of us that are trying to bring some kind of like reasoning into this conversation.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't.
I actually think it's Percy and Tyrone.
And Tyrone.
Exactly.
All right, so I think the Godfather of the manosphere. he gets abused quite a lot, you know. But if you listen to him long enough, you can see that he has the lessons in there. It's just not the viral moments. But let's see what he has to say about the Pookie and the Ray Rays.
Yes. Look. EQ. Social skills are a key to survival.
Fact.
So the man was saying why people complain about Pookie and Ray Ray, they overperform on the social skills.
That's it. You're complaining about Pookie and Ray Rays because they overperform on social skills. EQ, aka emotional intelligence quotient, okay? Social skills, understanding humans for what they are and stop trying to change what human beings are, including their tendencies to evolve over time. Stop calling back 1960s into 2022. It's not going to work anyway. You're just going to look more lame and lame and lame and lame. Okay, if you have social skills, you understand that people have changed. You understand that people are using the social apps to pick up dates. You understand how to adjust accordingly instead of complaining about it, right? Let's keep going.
And here's the thing, as an image consultant, I don't necessarily care in my profession why, but I get it. Just like
exactly. If it's an image consultant, he factors this into what he does, right? But there's a lot of men that are not image consultants, or they don't know what we know, or they're stuck in this world of red pill and manosphere, and it's just another talking points to say I'm right and you're wrong. Guess what? If everyone, especially if this is about you, like Jordan Peterson said, if you feel like every women are wrong and you're just right, it's the opposite. You're wrong. They're all right.
I was watching Auburn preach the other day, and they made a video talking about speaking white, and Preach was talking about how speaking French or speaking in a certain way would cause him conflict at all levels, at home, school, neighborhood, whatever. So he learned how to communicate in a way for survival. That is the core.
Emotional intelligence, social skills is survival. You, especially as a man, especially now, because it's falling apart. That's why you see all the arguments. Even when men are not on the, even when women are not on the stage, even the way they combat each other. Especially when they sense that somebody's about to ponder, they go crazy, they go left. Everything goes left. If they hear somebody trying to kind of understand from both sides, they hear pondering. They go crazy. They lose their mind.
Of human existence. We can get,
reading the room, listening to where people are coming from without having to ask them to see where you're coming from. It's literally social skills. Learning how to land your point, your plane, learning how to land your point and making sure the land is fertile for it is part of social skills. That's the skills you need to learn as a man. You don't get to blame the women for not receiving your bullshit because you don't know how to talk. Or the other counterpart. It could be another man. Okay?
Lived as nomads for the longest. But what made modern cities? Human beings deciding to sit down and collaborate and work together for a mutual good.
Facts.
And understand
what I'm saying.
See, I say that all the time. And here's what I used to say, right? You can try to run into a cave and live in a cave all you want. You can avoid marriage all you want. You can avoid relationships all you want. Your social skills is your social skills. It's going to come back and bite you in the butt. It's like your shadow. Every time you run away, there you are again. Because there's always a light shining on you. That's called life. Either you realize it or not. So you might as well just engage it and learn the skills right now.
I want to get derailed.
So to be fair, I want to be fair and make sure I mention that here. Both John and David, okay? Both John and David apologized to each other, apologized to the whole panel before they left. So I want to be extremely fair to them. But I also wanted to use those moments not only to promote my sister's platform, but also to point out those lessons, just so you know that this is real. It's everywhere. These little things count. These are the little moments that count that becomes people's relationship, right? Come to find out, David just got married. John was married, but he's divorced. But you could tell from, and his divorce is paying child support. And David tried to use that to shame him, and that's wrong. That's off, because learning this skill set doesn't mean life is not going to happen to you, but you'll be able to handle it better. That's the point. The point is that you'll be able to withstand, you'll be able to handle crisis. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be divorced. It doesn't mean that life is not going to happen. It doesn't mean that people are not going to lose children, lose family members, have sickness in the family, deal with real life shit. The curveballs that life will throw at you, especially as a man. It doesn't mean that. It just means you'll be well equipped to handle these things when they happen, and you won't be in a position to be bitching about it and blaming other people for it. Blaming other people for your issues, playing the blame game, judgment game, condemnation game, and guilt game always backfires, always works against you. The right and wrong game always work against you. Seeing life as black and white will always work against you. So with that being said, there are two short clips that I feel like we should end this session with. The first one is about learning how to communicate with women. I think it's funny. And the other one, let me just go straight to them. And I think we've had enough communicating with women. The first one is communicating with women. And the other one is, this guy, he had a lot to say about black men. I disagree with him halfway. I agree with him halfway. He has a lot of talking points that you as an individual need to completely avoid. And let me play this.
My man. I don't see gay. I want a serious relationship. You mean I mean oh my God! You see if you're bro.
So up to this point, he said he's found a girl that he wants to enter into a relationship with. He thinks he's figured out women, right? So let's.
Which did that to handle woman? Don't be sure that to lean on bank account, breakfast in bed. Yeah.
You sure see you smart. So he thinks that's what women want: bank account, breakfast and clear, all the typical stuff, right?
Okay, move to answer woman question. Yes, I don't answer you now. Yes, I can answer a woman. You can answer a woman's question. Yeah. Hey, baby. Hey, how you doing? Very good. And my favorite compliment. Just observe at the details.
Hey babe,
Yeah?
about that thought of what I was thinking, do you think I should follow my thoughts of what I was thinking? But I'm thinking my thinking is correct, just that I don't think my thinking of my thinking is wrong. What you think?
Bro, which kind question you supposed to be the answer to that question. Maybe you want a relationship.
At this point, some people will say women also should be adults and learn how to talk, right? Obviously, it's an extreme joke, right? But some of you get the point. You get it, right? So he wants to take notes. He wants to bring it down to an exact science. This is what people do with data, right? They pull all the data because they need everything to be an exact science because they don't want to have to learn anything new tomorrow. They want all the answers right now so they can get it, figure it out. Only lame people act this way. But let's watch it. Let's see how. When I say lame, it's an average person. I don't mean any shaming and insult with it. I'm just saying. Sometimes I do, but you get the point. It doesn't work. The only thing that works is active, ongoing listening, especially when it comes to romantic relationships.
My thoughts about what you're thinking is just follow what you think you are thinking and do what you're thinking.
Exactly, but that's what I'm asking you for your thoughts about my thinking. What do you think is the right thing to think?
Babe, I'm thinking about what you're thinking. I think the thoughts of your thinking is the right thing to think. So do what you think, babe.
Yes, but my thoughts might not be exactly what
It's
you think I'm
now.
thinking. That's why I need you to stop thinking what you think I'm thinking and tell me what you think.
But I'm thinking what you're thinking, and your thoughts about what you think I'm thinking is not what I'm thinking. So I think you should stop thinking what you think I'm thinking and do what you think.
Relationship book for everybody. Now for only people who go school.
I think I don't get the answer.
I think what he's thinking about your thought is the right thing to be thought about in this thing.
That's where the manosphere gets it. Like, we know exactly what this shit is. Everybody's happy, right? Let's see how that goes.
I think you don't think what I think you think I'm thinking. So you should stop thinking the thing you think I think you think that I think you think I'm thinking. So think and tell me what you think.
Guy! Okay, I think you should cook rice instead of beans.
I think I'll cook beans instead.
Jesus!
What have I been saying? You sure say.
So at the end of it, she just wanted to be heard. That's it. At this point, most people will say she should just be an adult. She should just be an adult, right? That's not how life works. It will never work that way. I don't think so. Not in this lifetime. Not in this generation anyway. Maybe things will consolidate beyond this lifetime, but you would have been long gone before that evolution will happen to human beings, right? Let me play this one last one. This is just basically about the talking points that you, on the other side, you want to attack men. That doesn't work either. Because again, these men are more feminine than ever before. You want to be careful with this talking point. And especially if you're rolling your eyes behind your head to say these things, I think you should back off. And I think men, we're going to figure this out. I think there's enough of us coming out and, keeping the foot on ourselves' neck. A lot of people will figure this out, okay? They will. And we just need, there's a tipping point we'll get to where things will be okay. Or there will be an evolution and we will just be fine anyway. So let me play this. Oh, guess what? I won't be able to play this. It's the wrong format. It's the wrong format. Nonetheless, I think we've kind of exhausted this session. I'm exhausted, to be honest with you. I'm exhausted. What I want to do is I want to encourage you. Hey, Just Jay, thank you so much for your support always. One day, I will get you to come up with me so we can chop it up, right? One day, right? But for now, I think this is I think we've done this justice, right? Just make sure you hit the like button if you watch this up to this point. Hit the like button, subscribe to it, and let's make the platform is growing. It's growing very fast, and I just want to keep the momentum up, okay? And I think we'll be able to keep it up. I think we'll be fine. I found kind of like a system that works to continue to release content here. If you prefer the live broadcast, that's fine. If you prefer the video premieres, that's also fine. I'll continue to bring you trendy topics. We'll continue to not just bring trendy topics, but also extract the main lessons out of them. All right. Hopefully, you've been enlightened and educated. This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios, Men of Prestige. my sisters, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your support always. I appreciate you. I will see you on the next one, and peace.